Oh, yeah. Look who's back on a Monday morning. Ben and Woods, 97.3 The Fan. Let's get our heads right. It is a very chilly and blustery day out there this morning. I was freezing cold driving into work. Oh, God, I'm still got the chill. My nips are firing. Well, they usually are. They usually are, hot or cold. It's good to be here on a Monday, back with my brothers here. Paulie Reindl, the executive producer of the program. Good morning, Paulie.
Hey, how are you?
Good. How was the weekend?
Good. Not as cold as it was this morning.
No, it was nice. It was nice this
dang.
weekend. It was not pleasant. It's not pleasant.
Yeah. I did have the heat on in the house.
Had a lot of perspective this weekend, though. We could talk about that, certainly. Ben Higgins, your friendly neighborhood sports anchor, joins us as well. Benjamin, how are you feeling? How are you sounding?
Good. Kidding. I definitely sound a little bit better than I did last week.
And you feel better.
I never felt terrible. Friday night, I felt a little icky, and that was about it. And then Saturday and Sunday felt normal, but obviously the voice hasn't recovered entirely.
You did some resting.
Yeah.
What does it look like for you to rest?
I read the book that you gave me.
Yeah.
Sat there, watched a couple of shows, watched a lot of sports, obviously on television.
Bro.
College football Friday night, college basketball Saturday morning, NFL playoffs. So
we had the same schedule. I was able to this weekend watch pretty much everything. I was able to watch the game, most of the game Friday night. My son had his flag football doubleheader, which was amazing. So much fun. So proud of him. Scored 2 touchdowns.
I saw the videos. Very impressive.
I was so proud of him, man. He really. I mean, that's the third or fourth flag football game he's ever played, and scored two TDs. Made a ridiculous catch in traffic. Played really well and played hard and really gives it his all. I'm just very proud of my son Bo, and very proud of my son Taylor, who got dragged not only to a doubleheader Friday night, but Bo's first basketball game on Saturday. That didn't go as well. We were shut out in the first half. It was 12-0. Then they cut it in half. And I think the final was 18-8, something like that. But it was fun, man, to watch them go out and play. And
like the Aztecs game.
Pretty much, yes. So then he tried to complete the trifecta yesterday. He had his Edge Development baseball camp in the morning from 8 to 10, but he got really, really sick. And we ended up at urgent care yesterday morning.
Ooh.
And I was texting you guys. He was actually going to be here today, but Hannah was able to get out of her work. So, yeah, man, that poor kid was just laying around resting. So the thing is, you hate when your kids are sick, but it also kind of gives you a little pass if you do sports radio to sit on your ass and watch sports all day. So I watch sports. I watched the Aztecs game Saturday, watched all the games yesterday, and caught the second half Friday night.
Why is it the kids, grown-ups for that matter, always seem to get sick on Sunday when none of the regular healthcare options are open and you have to go to like an urgent care somewhere? It felt like that always when my kids were growing up. Like, you couldn't just get sick when the pediatrician is having their walk-in hours on a Wednesday morning, right, and we'll just go and they'll fix you up. It's right down the street. No, it's always Sunday. Everything's closed and you got to go to urgent care like at, Scripps Green at Torrey Pines or something. It's never convenient when the kids get sick.
Yeah, 100%. And check this out. So this happened to me. I'm glad you brought it up because something happened to me, and I'm sure it's happened to you guys before and you guys listening. So he gets up early on Sunday morning, and he walks in. He's like, "Daddy, I don't feel good." And I said, "Buddy, I'm so sorry." So get up here, put him right in my arm, got on the phone, and made the urgent care appointment. And what time do you open? You open at 9. There's a 9:15. Boom, booked. All right, buddy, we're going to go to urgent care in about 3 hours, so try to get some rest. Daddy will take you. We'll be set. So we show up, typical Woods fashion, at about 8:50. And we're sitting in the car, and the lady opens the door. And I see this mad rush of people start filing into urgent care. Now, I have an appointment. It's booked. I did it on my phone at this location. And I'm like, still, though, there's that thing where you're like, we're going to get passed over. So let's go.
Little thing called triage. Yes. And once they decide that other cases are more urgent than your urgent care case,
correct,
you may be waiting there a long time.
Appointment or not. It's that group think mentality. Monkey see, monkey do. You see all these people going in, and you're like, you don't want to be left behind. So I go in, and I get in line. And this lady checks in, takes her about 5 minutes. Then homeboy in front of me goes up and checks in. I have an appointment. Okay, sir, what is your name? I'm not seeing anything. Well, I have an appointment. I did it on my phone. Okay, let me just double check. Are you at the right location? Yes, this location. Okay, and the date right? Yes, this date. Sir, I'm looking at the system. You're not in there, and I'm standing behind him. Bo is in the corner, hacking. Now we're getting close to our appointment time, and she's like, "Sir, you're not in the system. I don't know what to do. I did this on my phone." Then he does and this is the part. So I wasn't really mad at him because we've all been there. The old pick up your phone and start scrolling through all of your emails, clicking on the app to make sure. Now, the guy was booking an appointment and forgot to hit submit. Something like it's not in there. It didn't take.
Or even more nefarious, do people show up somewhere and say they have an appointment or a reservation at a restaurant, and you have to, if you leave just enough doubt in the minds of the business,
they may let it
they
slide.
They don't want to take the hit on like Yelp.
Yeah.
Like,
pissed off customer.
We lost a reservation from an angry customer, so they find him a table because, well, they said they had a reservation even though they didn't. Are there human beings who will do that even though they know full well they didn't have an appointment or a reservation, but they felt like if I say it, I probably will get better service or be seen quicker.
And if I'm like vehemently, if I'm demonstrative enough, they're just going to let me in. So she's like, "Sir, I'm sorry." And you could hear him getting worked up. Now I'm standing right behind him. And now I'm starting to get agitated, a little bit agitated. So she goes, "Sir, I do not have it. I am so sorry." And she goes, "So here's what we can do. We can just have you sign in as a walk-in." And so you think at that point, he goes, "Fine." He goes, "I'm not a walk-in. I have an appointment." So I'm behind him. I go, You don't have an appointment." He kind of looks over his shoulder. So now I'm getting pissed, right? And he's scrolling through his emails. I have it in here somewhere. And Bo's, meanwhile, hacking up along. Yeah. And he's like, he goes, "Oh, I can't find it." She's like, "Well, okay, then if you sit there, you're just going to have to wait, and we'll get you in." So I'm mean mugging this guy. Like, come on, dude. It didn't work. Whatever you did, it didn't work. It didn't take. You didn't click submit. You put the wrong location. There's something afoul. Something went amiss with this. Sit down, and they're going to call your name. You got a little kid over here dying. Like, stop. So finally we get in. They looked him over. He's fine. Just a cough and, no meds or anything, no pneumonia, no flu. So that was good. So he went home and rested. But him being able to go in and rest and lay down all day freed your boy up to watch some football. I was like a full-on bed rotter yesterday. I just watched football. I made a pot roast and watched football. It was actually pretty great.
Not bad.
Pretty great.
Not bad for a Sunday.
Yeah, man, like it is just... Teresa says she's a medical receptionist, and yeah, we've had those cases. Yeah, people just walking. I have an appointment here. Actually, I did it on my phone. Well, there'd be a record of it. That's one thing If you did it.
You must be having a problem with your system because I definitely made an appointment.
The old problem with your system. You better check your system then. So we got that all done, man. And
I mean, to be fair, what do you say to that?
That's the thing. That's the thing.
Check your system. Be like, yeah, I'll get right on.
If you're the receptionist, if you're a host, I mean, I'm sure you're trained to always be polite.
Customer's always right.
Yeah. But what happens when the customer is definitely wrong?
Or lying,
they're
potentially.
Lying,
yeah.
Just totally lying. And they're lying, but you can't really call them on that.
But again,
that's not proper, customer service.
It's one of those cases where it's like the line behind me is now 10 deep, and you're at the 7-Eleven holding up the thing with your scratchers, and you're scratching off your tickets going, "Did I win this one? Did I win this one?" And you're just, dude, there's a line of people behind you. It clearly didn't work. Take the gift that they gave you of allowing you to walk in and just sit and wait your turn now, because you blew it. Whatever you did, you didn't do it right.
We, as a society, need to break away from the age-old, you just said it,
Customer's
always right.
Paulie,
the
absolutely.
Customer's rarely right.
They are rarely right.
I'll go as far as to say they're usually never right.
So true, dude.
You don't know anything about this.
It is it's so true.
Tier 1's accepted.
You're sitting down for dinner. How many restaurants have you managed? How many restaurants have you worked in?
How many meals have you made in the kitchen?
How many menus have you prepared?
Jordan says, how does Stephen Woods always get stuck behind people like this when he's in line at places? Every My life is a movie. And I don't mean a movie like, you know how the kids say, oh man, last night was a movie. Like, it's not awesome. It's not an awesome movie. It's like a horror movie most of the time. Everywhere I go, I get stuck behind the person who has the least amount of self.
Your life is a Curb Your Enthusiasm episode. It's not a movie.
It's a Curb episode. It's absolutely true. Everywhere I go, man. Get behind the guy.
He doesn't have an appointment. He does not have an appointment. No appointment.
Sit down. Sit down. Wait your turn. I'm sorry that you biffed it, man. I really am, because that's a bummer. Because we've all done it. I thought I had an appointment. No? Oh, I must have forgot to hit submit or whatever. Or I put the wrong location or the wrong date. I've done that 1,000 times, and you just wear it.
We've got a lot to talk about this morning. We will let you know what we've got on the menu coming up. First, though, I've got some good news for you. If you do pass away unexpectedly, and you do so without getting your affairs in order, like a will or a trust, your family will probably eventually end up with part of what you wanted to leave them after lengthy court delays and a lot of fees and process. Isn't that great, Woods?
It's not.
It's not the best.
It's not ideal, and I know people that have been in probate court. It can take a long time, and sometimes even with a will, probate is unavoidable. Only a trust can help you bypass that entirely. So that's why we're working with Trust and Will. We both did our wills and trust over the break, and it was super easy to do. So if you want to secure your assets, protect your loved ones with Trust and Will, look. It's already going to be hard enough for them. Losing you, don't make them go through this, dividing up your assets. Get 10% off plus free shipping of your estate plan documents by visiting trustandwill.com. Use the code San Diego, one word, San Diego, at checkout.
It's really an easy process. I mean, think about it. It's like easier than even doing your taxes online. Way easier than simple online tax preparation. You just answer some questions. Yes, no, this. It took me, I don't know, 20, 30 minutes at most to set mine up.
20 minutes.
Print the documents, sign them, and you are absolutely good to go. As Wood said, though, make sure you use the code San Diego, all one word, at checkout. Get 10% off and free shipping at trustandwill.com. That's trustandwill.com.
right, here we go. Flag 17 on.
That is my number.
All right, hit me.
Hamul Casino. Fun above all else.
Remember last week we were talking about Islands, the restaurant.
Oh, yeah. Big
You,
fan.
you get it in your head, and my kids work in Carlsbad, and they thought Saturday night, why don't we meet after work at Islands? So we did, and met them up in Carlsbad, right off Palomar Airport Road. Had a nice dinner with my boys, but I walked in, and much to my pleasant surprise, all the televisions were turned to the football game. No surfing videos.
Oh, what a
and we sat in the
bummer.
booth,
What
and
a
we got to
bummer.
watch the second half of the Steelers-Ravens game on Saturday night, and split some nachos and had a burger. It was delicious, really, really tasty, and had a very nice time with my boys at Islands.
You've really been going out of your comfort zone as your kids and you have more dinners together because they like Texas Roadhouse,
They
they
do.
like Islands. That's not really.
Olive Garden.
I can remember a time not so long ago. It's one of my favorite moments on the show. It happened after the show stopped, and we were in the prod studio, and one of your sons, I think it was Jack, called you and said, I'd like to go to lunch at Olive Garden. And you said, no, not happening. And he said, well, that's where I want to go. And he goes, nope. And I looked at him, I go, what? You're supposed to do what your kids want to do. He goes, no, I refuse. I'm not doing it.
That's where I draw the line.
And that it literally is where he drew the line. Hence, then the Christmas and holiday extravaganza, me feeding you Olive Garden through a GIMP mask. And I think you actually enjoyed it a little bit.
Not that much, actually, especially not knowing what was coming. But no, Islands was good on Saturday night. Had a nice evening. All right, we got a lot to get to on the program today. Starting, of course, with some baseball news at the bottom of the hour. Padres, we're still waiting on any major player personnel moves this offseason. However, there was a number of coaching and infrastructure moves that have gone on over the past couple of days. But most importantly, what week is it, everybody?
Roki
It's Roki week. Yes, Roki Sasaki
Time to
could-
get nice and disappointed.
could make his decision as soon as Wednesday. This is the 13th. The 15th is when all the international money resets. So it is now officially time to start looking a little more carefully about what Major League Baseball teams are doing. And we will talk about that coming up later this hour. What to look for, how to read the signs of possibly where Roki Sasaki is going to sign. Because we've been told it likely won't come on the 15th. It will come before the 23rd, after the 15th, somewhere in that week, Roki Sasaki will make his decision. But there's a ways you can kind of start figuring out which teams are still in and which teams are out as soon as Wednesday, if not already.
Yeah, there's a good opportunity here for some of the kids over in Latin America, and there's a good opportunity for some of the teams that probably don't consider themselves real players for Roki Sasaki. And what I mean by that is there was an example that happened over the weekend. So what's really going on right now is teams are talking to some of these kids that they have these handshake deals with. Ben Higgins, we love you. We love your work. On the 15th, we're going to sign you. Then I call you back and go, hey, Ben, still really love your work. Any chance you want to wait a year to sign? I know you're 16 and we had promised you $1.5 million. But we're going to pull that money back because we feel we're in the mix for Roki Sasaki. You, as the prospect that is living in Latin America, working your tail off, trying to get money for your family, you say, no, I'm not doing that. And it's already happened. Sources said Padres have had conversations with prospects about potentially waiting. It has not stopped turnover already. L.A. had a Dominican shortstop prospect named Darryl Morel. He was set to sign with the Dodgers once the period opened. Decided on Friday to instead sign with the Pittsburgh Pirates, who, by the way, probably don't consider themselves in the mix for Roki Sasaki. So Morel now is going to get twice the amount of money he would have received from L.A. So if you're Pittsburgh, it's a win-win. We're not in this mix, guys. Let's go get this good shortstop prospect for $1.8 million. And if you're Morel, the Dodgers, they wanted me to wait. I don't want to wait. I need this money now. I want to get this thing going. He signs with the Pirates. Now, maybe not the best move for him long-term, being with the Pirates instead of the Dodgers, but that remains to be seen.
Not entirely fair for everyone involved.
No, it's
but
not.
This is the process. This is how Major League Baseball has set it up. And if teams want Roki Sasaki, they really have no other choice as to possibly go back on the handshake agreements that they already had for 2025.
Well, and if you're a team, this is apples and oranges. You're talking to Darryl Morel is a 18-year-old prospect that will not see the big leagues for 5 years. Roki Sasaki slots into your rotation the day he gets there. This is not the same thing. So I've already seen some of these international agents talking about, hey, man, when this happens, there needs to be in place a different way to do it. There has to be a different way to do the people posting from Japan and Korea and a different way that we're dealing with these international prospects. Maybe that comes around in the next, CBA and the next negotiations. But as of now, Ben, that's how it works. And some of these kids are going to get left out in the cold for another year, or they're going to end up signing with other organizations.
So more details on the Padres and Roki Sasaki coming up here at the bottom of the hour. We will talk some college basketball at 7 o'clock, and no two ways around it. It was a rotten weekend for San Diego college basketball. All the way around, not just the Aztecs, but more. We can talk about the game at New Mexico on Saturday morning. Just not a great Aztecs performance, and they're going to have to try to bounce back quickly with another game tomorrow night at Colorado State at Viejas Arena, and that's really important now. If you look at the standings, you can see how important it is that the Aztecs can't let one loss turn into two here as they come home to host the Rams. We'll talk some college basketball at 7 o'clock. Don't do this at 7:20, and then some football talk. Obviously, we played 5 of the 6 wildcard weekend games. Not a lot of close ones until last night. Came down to an upright doink in for the Commanders at the final second to win their first playoff game in almost 20 years at Tampa Bay. The rest of the games were just kind of so-so ho-hum, but I think we've got a really good slate of divisional games coming up next weekend. Also have a game tonight with the Vikings and Rams. That one's going to be in Arizona because of the wildfires in Los Angeles. We'll talk football. We'll also get into the college football game on Friday night. That's how much, like Paulie, I was talking to Paulie when I got here this morning. I said, hey, we didn't put the college game on the rundown. And he said, oh, that's right. We haven't been on the air since Ohio State and Texas played on Friday night in the Cotton Bowl Classic, and Ohio State advancing to face your Notre Dame Fighting Irish in the college football championship playoff game 1 week from tonight.
It's crazy, man, crazy. And that game, I watched some of it on my phone. I was watching Bo play football, but it was came down. It was a good game. Came down to a couple of really, really bad mistakes late. Play calling is always going to get called into question when you have an ending in a game like that. Execution's going to get called into question. But I think, most importantly, as a Notre Dame fan, Benny, I watched that game and I thought, okay, I hope we can give. I looked at it and I go, I think we can give, we can stay in the fight, right? And that's kind of all you're hoping for. It didn't feel like in Alabama, many, many years ago where you're like, bro, there's no chance. Like it's going to be.
No, there's a chance.
There's a chance.
There's a chance.
There's absolutely a chance. And that's, as an Irish fan, that's an 8.5-point dog. I looked at that and went, I hammered ND getting 8.5 points. They may not win, but I think they can keep it close. But we'll see, man. It's going to be a really intense week of preparation for both teams. And it's going to be a good one, dude. I think it's a great matchup.
Yeah, I had obviously that turnaround not happened with the fumble return. Texas kept it close, and I think Texas and Notre Dame, absolutely. If Texas can do it, Notre Dame can do it.
If you're a Texas fan, and one of my best friends is, I called him the next morning and I said, I'm so sorry, dude. I know how much you love it. He goes, 1st and goal from the 1, bro. To tie the game. He goes, 1st and goal from the 1. He goes, I'm going to think about it every day the rest of my life. And I go, I got 24 scoreless innings.
Yep.
I can show you as well.
Every fan base has their crosses to bear.
100%.
This will be one for Texas for a long time.
And Steve Sarkisian just laying there seeing that pitch play in his dreams. Oh, it's just terrible.
All right, then we've got our new slot for Take on Woods at 8:20. We've got some Aztecs tickets to give away for tomorrow night's game at Viejas Arena, and a Reindl Report coming up in the final hour of the program. So a busy Monday here on Ben and Woods, but we'll get into the Padres talk, more on Roki Sasaki coming up in just a couple of minutes. First, though, here's Woods.
What am I talking about here? Underdog? Oh, okay. So yesterday I had a nice 5 people to score a touchdown. And first 3 guys hit, and I went, oh, my gosh, I'm styling. The next 2 didn't get it. I still made money.
Wasn't Saquon, was it?
It was not Saquon.
Okay.
I still got paid out. Oh, because that would have killed me. He took a knee. So if you're a California sports fan, good news, Underdog is now available to play. Played all weekend. Best place to cash in on all your takes during the playoffs. And it was awesome. Still made, a little bit this weekend playing Underdog, but always have fun doing it. Win up to 1,000 times your money by choosing higher or lower on player stats. Of course, yards, touchdowns, interceptions, and more. You can do it with basketball as well. Played a little golf this weekend, too. So really, really fun. Going to be looking at the Monday night game tonight to check out. Definitely some high lows on some of these guys as well, but it is Underdog, the best place to play Pick'em. Download the app, sign up with the promo code Woods. Deposit now. You can get up to $1,000 in bonus cash instantly. Use the promo code Woods when you sign up, please. Must be 18 and over, present in a state where Underdog Fantasy operates. Terms apply. Concerned with your play? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit ncpgambling.org.
Got some big news for the Tier 1s. Actually, the Scrabinators as well. The Annie and Elston fans. Do they have names? Gwen and Chris listeners? I don't know.
I don't know. I don't think so.
Scrabinators, Tier 1s. We need to come up with some names for the middle of our day.
I'm gonna let them do that.
Here on 97.3 The Fan. Yeah, it's not our place.
I don't like
Doesn't matter
I don't like stick my
whether
beak
you
in.
listen to one show or every show, though. The biggest fan contest is returning
Oh, yes.
to 97.3 The Fan on January 27th. You might remember, if you've been listening for a while, we've done this before. And once again, our grand prize for the biggest fan is going to be a night in the Odyssey Suite at Petco Park with 20 tickets for you and your friends for a future Padres game. To participate, all you need to do is register your name at 973thefansd.com/biggestfan. Get your name in there. You just have to do it once. And then once the contest starts, we will be announcing names. One per show, 9 a.m., 1 p.m., and 5:30 p.m. every weekday while the contest is on. When you hear your name, you get a chance to call us back in like 10 minutes or something. And then if you do, you're into the drawing for the night at the Odyssey Suite at Petco Park.
Man, the people that have won it the last couple of years, they just had the time of their lives. And getting to sit in a suite, I think, is definitely something we've all taken for granted. It is, if you've never done it, it's really a fun night. Really fun night. And, easy. All you got to do is sign up on the website.
Yeah, first step is registering. You can do that anytime starting now. 97.3thefansd.com/biggestfan. And if you are at Petco Park, you may see some of the new members of the Padres coaching staff, which was officially announced. We mentioned it last week that the Padres did add a couple of coaches to the roster, Robbie Hammock and Nick Punto. Mike Schilt did announce that Robbie Hammock's going to be the Major League Field coordinator. Nick Punto just gets the name of coach.
I like that.
He's just a coach. He's just a coach. Gets to be a coach with the San Diego Padres. But then on Saturday, we learned, I thought about another interesting addition to the Padres organization.
Big
and that
time.
is former Seattle Mariners manager Scott Servais, who is joining A.J. Preller's staff as a special assistant in player development.
Love it.
Servais spent, 9 seasons as manager. I don't know. I would say a fairly successful 9 seasons. He had a winning record in Seattle. He had, I think, 3 90-win seasons. The only thing that he didn't do, he only made the playoffs once.
Yeah.
And that's what eventually cost him his job this last season when they fell out of first place and they decided to go a different direction. I mean, he consistently had that team, though, playing, I thought, better than most people expected in most years. He also has a relationship with A.J. Preller. They were both in the Texas Rangers organization. Servais was a director of player development or player personnel for the Rangers back when A.J. Preller was working for that organization before he was the GM of the San Diego Padres.
And I guess I did not remember, but it says in the article in The Athletic by our beloved Dennis Lynn, he said Preller interviewed Servais in late 2015 for the Padres managerial vacancy and then went with Andy Green. Of all people, he went with Andy Green over Scott Servais back then. And I couldn't help but let my mind wander to what might we have done with Scott Servais at that. Nothing against Andy Green. He's still in baseball, and he's a bench coach, I think, and he's doing his thing. He's a nice enough guy, but like Scott Servais it's a much bigger name and a much safer hire. And, I think Preller was probably praised a little bit back then for, wow, he's really going outside the box here, but that was an experiment that did not work.
Remember how buttoned up Andy Green was, though?
Yeah.
Like his opening press conference.
Oh, yes.
Like, I think he knocked the interview out of the park.
Great interviewer.
Like a really, really good interviewer.
Really good interview. And you bought into what he said. Now, again, Andy Green, to his... He also he was not given, not like he was given a Ferrari and like, hey man, and he wrecked it. He didn't have the best talent to work with either. But I did let myself wonder, oh man, what would the trajectory of the Padres been with a guy like Scott Servais there?
He's great.
Andy Green. Andy.
So
I reached out to a couple of people up in Seattle that are Mariners fans. I said, hey, how did it all end? Like, what was everybody? I was like, he was pretty generally well-liked up there,
I think
right?
by the players as well.
And he goes, yeah, like, obviously you don't get the playoffs, 9 years, only one playoff run. It's kind of, you got a target on your back already. But they said he was the mouthpiece for Jerry Dipoto, who everyone really hates.
Yeah.
All their hatred as a fan base is geared towards the general manager. He hasn't made any good decisions. Ownership's terrible up there.
Yep.
And somehow he got scapegoated.
Yeah, fall
Servais
guy.
did. Yeah, he was the fall guy. They said it kind of got weird at the end. Like my buddy said there was a player that was pissed off that they didn't make the playoffs the year before, and Scott Servais didn't have his players back. He said he needs to control his emotions or something like that.
I do remember that.
And I was like, okay, that sounds familiar.
I do remember that. I can't remember who the player
and
was.
That was kind of the where things started to turn, and people were like, F this guy. But I think in general, his tenure there, pretty good guy, pretty good manager.
So and again, it gives you a good baseball mind, and you get that into the fold here. It's not the worst thing.
So what will his role be? From what I understand, it sounds like it's going to be similar to the role Mike Shildt played when he first joined the Padres organization as a former manager who had been let go by his previous team but had been successful there, working for A.J. Preller, going down into the minor leagues, getting to know players in the system, helping them develop. I would imagine if there's ever someone is out on the major league coaching staff, as has happened in recent years with COVID or surgeries or whatever, Scott Servais is there to jump in, could coach third base, could bench coach for a couple of days if necessary, as Mike Shildt did during his time in the organization. And of course, you got someone there if
anything happens,
anything should happen.
Yeah, I mean, and again, I think I used to subscribe to, and I think baseball was really guilty of. They would really caution against too many cooks in the kitchen, and I think the way that the game is now, I don't think you can have enough fresh, different perspectives. I really don't. And again, it's got to be one final message to the players and the development team and everything else. I agree with that. You can't have 15 different guys telling you different things, but if everyone's on the same page, you get a guy like Scott Servais in, man, I don't think it's going to hurt your organization at all, and I do think it will help.
I think he's also now third on the Padres catching depth chart in the organization as well, based on his good major league career behind the plate. Maybe a little too old to come back, but Padres are a bit desperate right now with their catching situation. So got Scott Servais, if anything really fell apart.
With really nothing on the horizon, rumor-wise, of a catcher, I did finally see yesterday, and it did lead me to believe this could be an active week for the San Diego Padres, as I saw it was MLB trade rumors talking about the Padres listening on closer Robert Suarez. And we'd speculated, I think Craig brought it to the table a month ago. We've talked about it plenty. Tier 1s have tweeted about it, put it in the chat. Robert Suarez, a valuable commodity, certainly, but one that is a little bit high-priced. And if you could make that move, you do feel like you have somebody else that could come in and work the ninth, maybe even a couple of different guys. So it may be a luxury the Padres, can't afford and don't really need right now. That being said, it led me to believe, okay, look, we're finally... Could this be the week where there's a flurry of moves, perhaps trades even? So we'll see how that pans out, but it was interesting to see it put out in the national media.
All right, I think one of the other reasons, of course, that we're going to see some activity is that once Roki Sasaki makes his decision, it's also going to inform the Padres and the rest of the teams as to where they really do need to focus the rest of their attention in the offseason. There has been some news, Sasaki, at least rumors, and some reporting from The Athletic. From Cuba as well this morning, which is an odd place to get Sasaki news, but it's out there, and we will get to all of that after a check of traffic here on 97.3 The Fan.
From the 855 Get Ross Traffic Center, protecting San Diego after accidents or injury, here's Kelly Danick.
Traffic is sponsored by Valvoline Instant Drive-Thru Oil Change, your trusted instant drive-thru oil change. Couple of problems here, guys. A crash on northbound 805 on or near the Bonita Road off-ramp. Also, stalled vehicle in the slow lane northbound 125 before the King Freeway. And traffic alert has been issued for the stalled semi on the coastline northbound 5 just past Tamarack. That's got the slow lane blocked. Stop by any of the 30 San Diego Valvoline Instant Oil Change Centers. You don't have to get out of your car. It usually only takes 15 minutes or less. Plus, get a free courtesy check of your tires and battery. Visit SoCalOilChange.com for directions and discounts. SoCalOilChange.com. I'm Kelly Danick with Ben & Woods, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
So you alluded to it earlier, but the international signing period is going to be way crazier than it usually is. It's a Wild West to begin with the signings of international players to contract starting on January 15th on Wednesday. But with the Sasaki uncertainty thrown into the mix, you have teams right now, and this was written about by Dennis Lynn, Andy McCullough, and Will Salmon in The Athletic this morning. You have teams that don't even know, who is available and who's not available on the international market. Because depending on where Sasaki goes, it could free up a whole different pool of players, and that could cause a domino effect. So the international market right now is very crazy at the moment as players are looking, it's a game of musical chairs, and they're circling around, and they don't want to be left without a chair when the music stops and Roki Sasaki makes his decision later this week.
Yeah, and his agent, Joel Wolf, whatever you have in the coffers as a team, they're going to take it. So if you've got $6 million, that's what the deal's for. It's for 6. It's not, let's do 4 and then you can sign 2 other players. No, whoever's going to pool their money to get Roki Sasaki, they're taking all of it. Every nickel. So there's going to be one team out there that gets one international prospect, and that prospect will be Roki Sasaki, and that will be it. The rest of those teams then will have to pivot and say, are you interested in playing for the Rockies or the Cardinals or the Cubs or whatever? But, whether it's the Padres, whether it's the Dodgers, whoever it is, they're going to get that one, and they're going to be very, very pleased with that one.
The Toronto Blue Jays officially got an in-person meeting last week. That was reported in The Athletic this morning. They join the Padres, Dodgers, Mets, Yankees, Cubs, Giants, and Rangers as the at least reported finalists who have received an in-person meeting with Roki Sasaki. Now, could there be a mystery team in there? I mean, that's up to Sasaki and Joel Wolf and how they've handled their business and how buttoned up things are. But at least publicly, those are the 8 teams that are currently considered the actual finalists who have met with Roki Sasaki, who've gone through his process and are waiting on his deal. However, as you're starting to see some of the reporting, it certainly seems like there are 2 teams that have merged above the other 6 as the true last couple of finalists. And they are the Los Angeles Dodgers and the San Diego Padres. And in this piece by The Athletic, it's written, the Padres informed some players who were expected to be part of their upcoming signing class that they were free to now seek other deals, league sources said. The Dodgers have told players to consider signing as part of next year's class if the team lands Sasaki and can't acquire enough international bonus pool money via trade to honor their handshake agreements, league sources said. Sources said the Padres have had similar conversations with prospects about potentially waiting until 2026. So all these teams may be in it, but it certainly sounds like the Padres and the Dodgers are the ones who are at least advancing the furthest in all right, starting to tell guys, I know we've told you 4 years ago that we were going to sign you when you turn 16. This whole Sasaki thing has come up, and there's now a chance that we're not going to be able to sign you, and you might have to wait, or you might want to start talking to other clubs. I can't imagine that A.J. Preller, who you know how much he loves his international prospects, would release any of his, tentacles, meat hooks, whatever he's got, unless he really thought this was a strong possibility that Sasaki was going to sign with the Padres.
Yeah, look, and you can read all the tea leaves you want, and a lot of people are doing it. A lot of people have gone to former prospects' pages and noticed that it doesn't say Padres on it, Dodgers, whatever. And as I mentioned earlier, the Dodgers have literally already lost a guy. They went to the Pirates. Darryl Morel went to the Pirates instead of signing with the L.A. Dodgers because the Dodgers have said, I don't know. We know that money's not going to be there if we sign Roki Sasaki. Look, I saw that story come out and it made my heart flutter a little bit because I went, oh, God, they're already letting guys walk thinking, we've got this dude in the bag. But I think they're all just trying to get all their ducks in a row and get as much money gathered as they can. And wherever Roki makes his decision, they want to make sure they have a decent amount to give him.
A Cuban baseball writer named Francis Romero, and he is a member of the Baseball Writers Association of America, covers a lot of the international prospects down there. Now, he probably doesn't have a direct line to Roki Sasaki, but he does talk to these kids and their families and their agents. And he tweeted that source 2 days before the start of the 2024-2025 international period, the Padres and Dodgers will finalize their agreements after Roki Sasaki reaches a decision likely on January 20th or after. If Sasaki chooses otherwise, those signings will proceed as planned. So
a week
again,
from today.
he probably doesn't know what Sasaki's thinking, but what these prospects in Cuba have been told is you're going to have to wait until the 20th because that's when we are anticipating the decision. And then, if he doesn't pick us, we'll sign you. If he does, then you're going to have to come up with a plan B. It sounds at least like that's what the families are being told. Like January 20th is the date. We'll know for sure then, and then we will proceed accordingly based on Roki Sasaki's decision.
And again, as I mentioned earlier, this is a good opportunity for those kids. As much as it may be tough to wait an extra week or an extra 5 days, whatever it may be, it's a good opportunity for them. You already saw the kid from the Dodgers double what he was going to get from them with the Pirates. It's also a really good opportunity, Ben, for those other teams that aren't in on Roki Sasaki to say, he ain't coming here. We've got $4 million to spend. Let's go spend it and get some of the guys that the Dodgers had earmarked or the Padres had earmarked or the Cubs had earmarked. Like, that's a really, really good thing.
I was thinking about that earlier with AJ Preller. You look at his job that he did last year after having to shed, $90 million in payroll. Had one of his best years ever as general manager, president of baseball operations. He was really good at working under those constraints. Can he do it again this year? It's kind of the same thing with this draft money, with all the international money. If Roki doesn't sign with San Diego, is it too late for him to go out and get creative and use that money on 3 or 4 other different prospects?
Sure, and I think he will. You don't want that money to not be spent. That being said, the best case scenario is
saying, are the top prospects already moving on to other teams?
That's the thing.
Is there going to be anybody left?
That's the thing. Is there going to be anybody left? But the best case scenario is you get Roki Sasaki, and he slots right in your rotation. The worst case scenario is you don't get Roki Sasaki, and you lose all the guys that you had put in a million man-hour scouting for the last 3 years and that you had as a part of the future of this team. They all go to Pittsburgh and Colorado and somewhere else, and you lose Roki Sasaki and you lose the guys that you love.
Yeah, it could be a double loss here.
Yep.
Now, a little more from this Athletic piece this morning. He said, for this period, the Padres made fewer agreements than they normally would because of Sasaki's presence in the market, league sources said. Padres have a $6.261 million bonus pool this year, while the Dodgers are at $5.146 million. Some international executives from other clubs suggested the Sasaki fallout could be anticlimactic since the Padres and Dodgers, considered the favorites for the right-hander, are believed to each have at least a couple of $1 million available without breaking any deals. Still, it all depends on just how much Sasaki is willing to accept from a club. So that's where we stand 2 days before the window opens, maybe 1 week before Sasaki is truly expected to make his decision.
Yeah.
If it's next Monday, if that'll break on Tuesday. We're going to be out in Arizona next week, with Padres fantasy camp, but not a bad place to be if there's a lot of Padres news going on. We certainly will have our ears to the building, and a number of Padres, employees who are there who should know a little bit about what's going on if nothing's happened yet. So looking forward to that.
And we will not be on the air on Monday, but you can rest assured. It's a station holiday, yeah?
Yes.
No one's on the air. All right, so
Martin Luther King Jr. Day next week.
So we will be, jumping on if something major happens. I would say we'll jump on. If he goes somewhere else, we'll wait till Tuesday. If he signs here, we'll jump on Monday and figure out a way to serve you guys and be very excited about it. Pantsless, maybe. Maybe. There's always at fantasy camp, there's always the potential that either me or Paul will be pantsless.
Or the likelihood, even.
It's actually
potential.
You do see a lot more full frontal nudity at fantasy camp, more than you'd like. There's more there than I would
true.
like.
I mean, we broadcast live directly from the entrance
from the
to
thing.
the
we've
clubhouse.
definitely changed with headsets on
Oh
while
yeah,
talking.
Yes.
Yeah.
There's a lot of
Oh yeah.
a lot of dong out there.
There's also some women who are members of fantasy camp, but they get their own.
They have their own
changing
locker room.
area.
Yes, nobody wants to
Correct.
see that. It's not the peak of athletic. It's not the peak look.
All right, we'll be back to talk a little college basketball. Hour number 2 of Benowitz next on The Fan.
And if there'll be another run-in at fantasy camp with one Goose Gossage. And
You're a nerd, too.
Unfortunately, or I guess fortunately, he will not be there.
I'm no less nerdy than I was last year at this time.
That's
so
true.
I would still be on his bad side. I would take it.
I would guess, too, that he is a year surlier. I don't think he softened in a year.
No.
My guess is some guys soften with age. I don't think he's one of them. I don't think he's a guy. You know what? Maybe I was a little harsh on some of my takes. I don't get that sense.
Well, if he was going to soften with age, it probably would have happened by now.
It would have happened by now.
But, then he wouldn't be Goose anymore.
Correct. And we would not have that interview that will live in infamy.
I mean, I think we'll know. If he shaves the mustache, maybe he's
be-
softened a little bit. But
be
I don't
so
think
weird.
he's ever going to. Can you imagine Goose
can't.
without the mustache?
I cannot.
You're a nerd, too.
I cannot.
It's part of who he is.
What are you so mad about, dude? Why are you so mad? Because people like to have information. He was so mad. Just because people like information now. And, hey, this might be some information that could help you get better. Absolutely not. I'm going with my gut every time.
That was
It was the most
maybe
uncomfortable I've ever been.
the worst segment we've ever been a part of.
People loved it. People loved it. But I was outside my body. I was outside. My soul had...
I remember,
My head was between my legs. I was going to throw up.
When we finally finished up with the show, we got dressed, we went out and started getting ready for batting practice or whatever out there on one of the fields. One of the training staff guys, he was like in the dugout as I'm tying my cleats, and he goes, "Oh, how'd the show go today?" It's like, it went.
Go listen.
We had Goose on. He goes, "Oh, you put Goose
on
on
the
live
air."
radio?"
Yeah.
I'm like, "Yeah, I'll never do that again."
2 S-bombs, a P-bomb,
Multiple
multiple
P-bombs.
P-bombs.
And nearly an altercation with one of the hosts.
Correct.
You're a nerd, too.
God, it was...
He was pointing at me
and
angrily when he did
coming
that.
across
he
the
was
table.
reaching across the table,
You're
giving
a
a
nerd,
strong point at me at that point.
Oh, God. What was it? Let the P words be P words or something?
Yeah, it was great. It was
Well,
great.
behind their computers. Oh, God.
I may need to start a beef with a new Padres alum this year if Goose isn't going to be there.
Chris
who are the
Gomez, maybe.
Chris
Yeah.
Gomez. I don't really know Chris.
I don't either.
He seemed pretty laid back as a player, but maybe he's got a secret edge, and we can go butt heads and battle it out, or one of the other guys possibly.
It's going to be tough to top last year, but we will do our very best. And hopefully, like we just mentioned, hopefully we have some good news with Roki Sasaki, signing with the Padres. That'd be a really, really fun way to kick off camp on Monday.
Speaking of camp, happy birthday yesterday to Randy Jones.
Randy Jones.
Jay.
Was he you ever going to throw a strike? Ever, you P word. All right. I'm sorry, Randy.
Baseball players do enjoy using that word.
They
Maybe a
do.
little too much.
They do. That's fine.
All right, speaking of bad news, the Padres, or not the Padres, the Aztecs, college basketball fans, plenty of it over this weekend as San Diego State went into New Mexico on Saturday morning, got up, ready, excited to watch some college hoops
Me
at
too.
10 a.m. on national television, real like CBS, over the air, and they just got bodied by the Lobos. I mean, New Mexico's a good team. They're undefeated in the conference.
12 and 13-3.
Yeah, they're 6-0 now in the Mountain West. They're playing at altitude for the first time this season. Sold out pit. It's a hostile place to play, like Viejas Arena is for other teams. I just think I saw a lot of fans from the Aztecs just very disappointed in their team's performance.
Yeah.
They looked
Listless.
Yeah, that was one of the words.
I hate the word. I don't like to use the word lazy. Not lazy, but like there were lazy passes, there were lazy shots, it wasn't your typical suffocating Aztecs defense. Altitude definitely has a factor in it, but you can't use it as the ultimate excuse. The early start time, they had to play the early start time too. They're also college kids. They came out really, really good. And, bro, you never really felt like you were going to get back in that game, just the way that things were going. It just wasn't good.
It was really
sloppy.
Sloppy.
Yeah, the offensive rebounding, though, is where the game was really decided. After the Aztecs had dominated Air Force on Wednesday. I mean, dominated them. They got dominated. 18-3, the final tally on offensive rebounds. 14-1, second chance points. That pretty much encompasses the entire difference in the ball game. It was just the fact that if New Mexico missed, they had unlimited chances to go back and score again on San Diego State, who didn't really do anything that well. They were held to 20 points in the first half.
Yep.
Briefly, they were only down 10. I thought that was kind of a miracle, down 30-20. They briefly got within 5 right at the start of the second half, and I thought, okay, they're getting used to the altitude. They're getting their lungs, whatever. Here comes the run. And
Didn't
then
last.
It did not last.
No.
Got no closer. And now San Diego State is facing, it's hard to call it a must-win game when we're still only in January, and March is a couple of months away. But the Aztecs are now 3-2 in the Mountain West. Both New Mexico and Utah State are 6-0. If you want to stay up with the leaders, you can't fall to 3-3
No doubt,
when Colorado State
Oh.
comes to town tomorrow night for an 8 p.m. start. You don't want to drop any further in the metrics. They fell from 31 to 41 in the net, 31 to 36 in the Ken Palm. So those are both still fine. They're still in the at-large range, but you don't want to drop any further because then all of a sudden you're a bubble team, and you don't want to be a bubble team come March and have to rely on winning the Mountain West tournament when you know you're going to have to face teams like New Mexico and Utah State, who have already beaten you. Those will probably be 2 teams you might have to face again, not only in the regular season, but in the Mountain West tournament as well.
Yeah, feels as must-win as a game in January can be, though, right? You just got to get the winning vibe going again with that team, and not a lot to be happy about after that performance. Miles Bird did tweak an ankle, came back in, did not score again, but that was a kind of a scary sight to watch him laying on his back, grimacing in pain. Any word on Reese Waters when he's supposed to be back? I've not heard a single word.
It's not been going well. They're now
That's
at the point
a bummer.
in trying to decide whether it might just be better to redshirt and save one more year of eligibility for next year.
That's a bummer.
Which is a bummer. Who is the only guy coming back with experience and expected to be preseason, Mountain West, and has not been able to play a single game because of the stress fracture that he suffered early in the season.
This crazy paragraph in the UT about this game. They didn't make a perimeter shot until 3:43 left in the first half. They had 9 first-half turnovers. They shot 5 air balls. They missed 13 layups. They were 9 of 17 at the line. Miles Bird had 14 points, but he needed 13 shots to get there. Fellow guards Nick Boyd and B.J. Davis were combined 2 of 14. And when they did miss, they couldn't chase down the rebound.
Kind of amazing they only lost by 14.
You're absolutely right. Reading that, you're like, God, they should have lost by 30.
Not a
Defense was
recipe
still
for
pretty good. I
success.
mean, New Mexico's averaging, I think, over 80, and they held them to 62. So, they still played defense, but that was about all they did. And then I had high hopes for later that day when UCSD played, maybe the biggest game they've ever played, hosting UC Irvine with first place on the line in the Big West. Both teams with NCAA tournament aspirations. It was sold out at Lion Tree Arena for just the second time ever. The atmosphere was great. It was on ESPNU. It was Steve Quist was calling the game, so everybody around the country had a chance to see the Tritons really for the first time. And UCSD, which has been such a great three-point shooting team, with Tyler McGuy, I mean, they have been on fire all season. They couldn't make anything. 6 of 36 from three-point range, and they lost 60-52 to the Anteaters. And UC Irvine's a good defensive team, so give them some credit.
Footer that Irvine or UCSD had absolutely no answer.
Yeah.
They could not figure out how to attack him.
The Aztecs have a 7-footer that couldn't get a rebound on Saturday, Had
UCSD played, I think, more of a typical shooting game, they definitely could and will have a chance to beat UC Irvine, the rematch in Irvine later in the regular season. And, of course, it'll probably end up coming down to the tournament. Big West is usually a one-bid league, so you got to win that conference tournament ultimately in the end.
Yep.
This is a temporary setback for the Tritons, but it was still a big moment nonetheless for a basketball program that is taking that next step
100%.
To Division I.
100%.
And not that anyone was paying attention, but on the same night, USD lost 103-56 to St. Mary's, making it really just one of the worst Saturdays in Division I college basketball in San Diego we've seen in a very long time.
Yeah, I'd say so.
It was brutal.
Seals lost. It was not a great week.
Seals lost on the road in Vancouver.
Terrible.
It was not the best week. Hey, the San Diego Mojo won on the road.
No, they were still playing.
Second season.
Started? Home opener? Okay.
Home opener is Thursday.
Oh.
They've been on the road for the first two.
All right.
So you had one win
That's volleyball, yes.
for a San Diego team. And the Sockers won, too. They beat Tacoma 9-5. So we had a couple of wins. Oh, speaking of soccer, I just want to mention it. Today is the day. San Diego FC begins their first ever training camp.
Yep.
Down at their facility, their new facility that they're building on the Sequan Reservation at the Singing Hills Golf Course. First practice is later this morning, and they will have their first preseason games less than a month away in Coachella Valley in February 8th, and then the first game at the LA Galaxy on February 23rd.
Is their roster's not complete, though?
They did announce a roster over the weekend.
They did.
They may still have more moves to make.
Okay.
Including another designated player, like
Okay.
one of those international guys you can sign. But they have announced a roster, the one that they are bringing to preseason training camp starting today.
Okay.
So they will open it up, and we will officially have an MLS team this morning that is
officially
actually
official.
together and have soccer balls and uniforms and everything.
Should have worn my lid today and worn my jersey. I saw it in my closet this morning, and I thought maybe I should wear that today, but didn't match with my sweatsuit.
So,
you all right?
Yeah, good luck to them. Yeah, I'm still feeling the after effects from last week's vocal infringements.
You're doing great.
I'm doing okay. I wouldn't say
Doing fine.
great, but I've made it this far, right?
Yep.
That's something. It's not nothing to make it this far.
Proud of you. You're a grinder.
I try.
Yeah.
I try to be here for you. And
Did you
Paula.
work last night?
I did.
How'd that go?
It was fine. I have my long segment on Sunday nights where I'm talking essentially for 6 minutes straight, and that was tough. I told them anytime we go to like a sound bite, because you talk and then you have a 10-second sound bite, turn my mic off I can cough up my lungs and then turn it back on.
Okay.
Because it's not like radio where I can turn off my microphone and cough. I don't have a cough button. I just have a little lav mic, and someone else is controlling that. So I had to really fight through it for that, at least that long segment for my my Sports Extra show.
I'm sure it went well.
All right, it is time to tell you about Prize Picks. It is daily fantasy. It's the one I've been doing for the last about 8 months or so. Really having a lot of fun. I think it appeals just to my sports intellectual side, where I get to run my own game by picking more or less on 2 to 6 players, stat projections, and then putting them together. You can go big, try to put together 5 or 6 player lineups. You can go a little smaller, just 2 or 3. You can even go a 3-player flex play where you win 2 and you win money. So, I mean, there's definitely different ways to play this, different sports as well. Playoff time, though, is here. You've got a game tonight. Do not miss out on these last few weeks of football. You know you're going to miss it when it's gone. So this is a great time to get signed up with Prize Picks. And when you sign up, download the app. Make sure you use our special code KWFN. Get $50 instantly when you play your first $5 lineup. That's $50 instantly when you play your first $5 lineup with the code KWFN at Prize Picks. It's really easy to not only play, but it's also easy to deposit and withdraw money. You can use your MasterCard, you can use your Venmo, you can use your Apple Pay. I have won. I have taken my money out. It's been back in my account in like minutes, which is important, I think. You want to feel good about that. Prize Picks is taking care of that really well. So sign up today and start playing as soon as this evening. It's a ton of fun. Prize Picks, run your game, must be present in certain states. Visit prizepicks.com for details. We'll come back with Don't Do This.
I think Philly fans, I don't know that you're ever going to beat the allegations. We had a couple of really insane stories out of Philly in the playoff game yesterday. It's just like, what are we doing, guys? What
Coming
are
up
we
after
doing?
traffic here on 97 through the Fan.
Reindl. All right, hit me.
Hamul Casino. Fun above all else.
And Will, don't leave your entire estate, house, kids, and life savings up to chance if and when you die. Do set up a trust or will online at trustandwill.com. It's a lot more affordable than you think. Visit trustandwill.com for more info. I will start, unfortunately, with just a terrible story out of Louisiana. Former, now LSU wide receiver Kyron Lacey was accused of a hit-and-run accident on December 17th that resulted in the death of a 78-year-old man. And here's what the sheriff of the parish, Lafourche, Louisiana parish, says occurred on the highway. Lacey, they say, was in a 2023 Dodge Charger on Louisiana Highway 20, recklessly passing multiple vehicles at a high rate of speed by crossing the center line and entering the northbound lane while in a designated no passing zone. So crossing the double yellow line, passing cars on the right. Traveling behind a pickup, as Lacey was driving and illegally passing other vehicles, the driver of a northbound pickup truck abruptly braked and swerved to the right to avoid a head-on collision. All right, so they missed the pickup truck, but then right behind the pickup was a 2017 Kia Cadenza whose driver decided to swerve left to avoid the Dodge Charger. When he swerved left, he collided head-on with a southbound Kia Sorento. And the 78-year-old later died from injuries suffered in the crash. Lacey, who wasn't actually involved in the accident, even though he was the one causing it, just drove off without stopping to render aid or report his involvement with the accident. A warrant was placed out for his arrest. He did turn himself into authorities last night, was jailed, and then released on a little over $150,000 bail, according to police records. Now, the kicker to all this, Woods, is that this happened on December 17th.
Yes.
On December 19th, Lacey declared for the NFL draft after 58 catches for 866 yards and 9 touchdowns to the LSU Tigers this past season.
I don't think it works that way.
Probably not going to help his draft status.
I just don't think it works that way, buddy. It's a terrible story. Guy lost his life, former Marine. And, now this kid's life is over. It's ruined.
I get so nervous. Even when I'm allowed to, the dotted yellow
the
line.
dotted
and
yellow.
Someone's going really slow in front of me, and I know I can legally do this. Oh, man, I hesitate. I just wait and wait until I can see, can I see 3 miles ahead of me to make sure that I'm going to be able to get around this
even
car?
I, who's a semi-aggressive driver, even I get very nervous passing somebody on the left, and sometimes it has to be done. But no, this guy, again, the coming out and just the lack of remorse. Like, buddy, you made a terrific mistake, a terrible, terrible mistake. You got to stop. You have to stop and try to help the people. That it will never It wasn't even a hit and run per se. It was just more of a run. And then I'm going to try to throw a fastball by everyone and declare for the draft. Like, they're not going to figure out that I was involved in this. It was just a terrible story. Here's a couple more. I mean, out of Philly, the second one's a little bit lighthearted, but the first one is definitely not. Guy by the name of Alexander Basara tweeted yesterday. He said, what it's like going to Philly, just trying to root for your team. He's a Green Bay Packers fan, and his girlfriend is as well. Unprovoked, uncalled for. Packers Twitter, help me out and find this guy. This is not okay. I hate that my fiance had this happen, simply cheering for her team. She literally was just standing there. They did a review. I think Packers got the first down or something, and she's clapping. And there's a guy behind her, Philly fan, and he is right in her face, in her ear, telling her to shut her mouth, called her a dumb C word, right? And the boyfriend's like, dude, you can't say that. And of course, everyone on Twitter is a mercenary. Like, you should have taken that guy out. It was him, his buddy, and his brother, and they were all drunk, all behind her. Like, he's like, if I go 1-on-3, I'm gonna get my ass handed to me. Put it on Twitter. So that one definitely sucked. But he's out there now. They're gonna find him. I mean, control yourself at a game. But the one that made me laugh was by a guy by the name of Matt Schneiderman. Same game. He said he was in the press box, and his tweet was, we've lost contain here in the press box. Drunk woman who's an Eagles fan, right in front of the window, is heckling Robert Saleh and other bald folks in our row and calling them bald mother effers. Rob Domofsky just banged back on the glass and told her to sit the F down. They're in the press box, and a woman there's glass,
right,
and she is banging on the press box window, yelling at all the bald MFers in the press box. Robert Saleh's there. Why?
I guess he was probably doing some sort of guest coverage for
maybe
during the playoffs. Yeah.
She's yelling at everyone for being bald. And the guy that yelled back at her and told her to sit the F down, he is also bald.
I will say.
And he tweeted, he said, it's, you want to get drunk at a game, that's fine, but don't come after the bald guy. We've had it hard enough.
There is an unusual amount of baldness in press boxes, I've noticed.
Oh, that's true.
I mean, sports writers have tended to be the domain of
Saleh got a job with the Packers. Okay, that makes sense.
Got a job with the
he
Packers,
works
right.
there. Okay, good.
Domain of older men, and obviously, baldness and older men go together. So there is a ball but I don't know why you'd be spending your time. There's a game in front of you. Why are you turning around just heckling the press box the entire time? Now here in San Diego, we generally don't have windows on most of our press boxes because
they're there. They're just not down.
I don't know. Do they even have?
Yeah, they have windows.
Like the main Petco Park.
Petco?
Can they?
Yeah.
Can they close it? I've never seen.
I've never seen them.
I don't know if they can. Or
I don't
not.
know that they do.
I think they do.
Do they? They can pull down if so, I've never been to a game where it's been down.
No,
where
I've
it's
never
cold
seen one
enough. We're gonna close up the press box today. It's just too cold out there.
Yeah, it's probably maybe for like wind or rain or something like that. I would imagine. You would know more than me. I've only been in there.
I
a few
know.
times.
I've never seen windows. I think maybe like the suites, like Jesse and Tony's booth. I think that can be pulled down.
That can be pulled down.
I think I remember when it was COVID, and Jesse and Tony were calling Padres playoff games that were on the road in Texas.
Yes.
But there was an actual game going on in front of them that wasn't the game they were calling. They closed it because
the Yankees and the Rays.
Yeah,
or something.
it would have sounded weird because you would have heard all the baseball sounds that were not going on with the game that they were calling on a monitor.
Andy makes a good point here. So you got to think about it. It doesn't sit open all year. Birds flying in there taking a dump. You know what I mean? Like, it's got to be. You have to have windows.
Yeah, or like maybe a canvas. I don't know.
Canvas.
I don't know that it's like see-through. Like they could just like bring down like a tarp or something.
I bet you there's retractable windows.
Huh.
Adam says going after bald people could be considered a hate crime.
text Bernie Wilson. I feel like he would know.
Yeah, I think there's window. There's got to be
He's
windows.
probably been
in
there late enough, and they come rolling.
Yank the chain down. Yeah.
All right,
But
finally.
Philly fans, you love your team. I'll tell you, because this show, me, Ben, and Paul, we're going to Philadelphia in July together as a show outing to go to a Phillies Padres game. Should we just get together in my hotel room and just watch it on TV? I'm legit.
We can just wear Phillies hats and be quiet.
And just root for the Phillies. That's such a good bit. We're actually scared for our lives.
Yo, call me when you get your phone.
So here we are. Hey, we're 3 Phillies fans from San
This
Diego.
3 normal Phillies fans. We won't tell anyone that the P on our hat actually stands for Padres.
Hey Ben, can you get me a water?
Yeah, Ben, you grab some waters for us. What's the scenario?
Yo, call me when you get your phone.
Ben, where's my phone? Good God. I'm legit scared for it. Now, it's a July game, okay? So there's not going to be any playoff implications or anything like that, but I kind of just want to sit there and keep my mouth. I didn't have this feeling when I went to see a game in Kansas City. No, I knew it was going to be great and everyone was going to be kind. Get me some waters. I'm terrified now. All right. That's a freaking funny bit. Undercover Padres fans in Phillies gear. That's really good.
All right, finally, a little doo-doo this.
DD Mega Doo-Doo.
This is an old bit, but I always think a good one. Paul Goldschmidt did the traditional classy maneuver after going to the New York Yankees this offseason. Decided to take out the old full-page ad in the Post-Dispatch in St. Louis to thank Cardinals fans. Really nice, just full-page spread. Says, thank you, Cards Nation. Thank you for accepting me as one of your own. Thank you for the cheers. Thank you for sticking with me through the ups and downs. Most importantly, thank you for the relationships and memories which will stick with me for a lifetime. It was an honor to wear the Cardinals uniform, do my best to carry on the tradition built by so many before me, and then has his signature and a picture below it.
I mean, I still have the Eric Hosmer one from the UT framed at home. I just thought it was such a classy move, a guy that made $100+ million taking out a full-page ad, which runs, it's expensive. It's expensive, I think, if you wanted to take out a full-page ad. But
you think they get a discount? I mean, it's like for the
player?
For the paper, it's probably like good PR to like run those things. I'd give them a little break. Hey,
a little discount.
You want to take out a full-page ad? We can knock 15% off for you, Paul.
Yeah, when I need a little boost of like motivation, and I just read Eric Hosmer's touching words to the San Diego Padres fans.
Woodsy's making fun because there was no such thing ever happened.
Nah, never really heard from him again.
And that's don't and do this for a Monday.
Still on the payroll, though.
That was Don't Do This with Ben and Woods on 97.3 The Fan.
All right, we have once again set a record for the longest-running show to not talk about the NFL playoffs on an NFL Playoff Monday.
I'm excited to.
We will end that streak, though, after about an hour and a half this morning, coming up in our next segment and go through some of the wild card games, including another case of chargering in the postseason. Coming up next on 97.3 The Fan.
Can you believe that your old pal Woodsy fell for it? They got me. I bought in hook, line, and sinker, and they got me again. But real quick, before we go to break, I wanted to tell you about my friends over at QC Kinetics. So if you are having some joint pain right now, I mean, here we go again, right? You're going to start the new year feeling like you did in 2024. It doesn't make any sense. If you've got pain in your knees, your hips, your back, or your shoulder, make the decision now to say, no, not going to do it this year. Get moving again in 2025 with help from QC Kinetics. I have a lot of DMs asking me all the time, Woodsy, tell me about it really. How did it really go? It went amazing for me. I had severe pain in both of my wrists, got treatments on them from QC Kinetics, and my wrists are perfect. They are absolutely perfect. So they are the nation's leader in regenerative medicine and joint preservation. No steroids, no drugs, no surgery. The future of medicine using an array of natural solutions like PRP to attack the pain from arthritis. So many people have discovered these cellular treatments and are living life again without that constant pain in their joints. So if you want to learn more about how you can refresh your joints, get lasting relief with these treatments, call QC Kinetics. They will give you a free consultation when you call. Deal with your joint pain now. Make the most of the new year. 619-614-PAIN. 619-614-PAIN. It's QC Kinetics. Once again, 619-614-PAIN. I feel like a real rube. Just a dumb rube. I bought in, Ben.
To the Los Angeles Chargers, you bought in.
I did. I was told it was different. This year's different. I'm seeing Vinny Bonsignor tweeting about how, hey, this isn't your dad's Chargers. I'm like, all right. And again, I have no rooting interest. My rooting interest was to make money. And I looked at that game and I went, yeah, they're going to win that game. They're going to win that game. The line was 2.5 or something. I said, they're going to win that game by a field goal. And I bought into the Harbaugh, and it's a different culture, and Justin Herbert is ready to take the next step. And I was all in. I called a buddy. He goes, I need one bet for the weekend. What's your sure thing? He goes, if I win this bet, I get to collect from my guy instead of pay out. I said, I've been there. I said, let me think. I said, well, the one I'm probably most confident about is the L.A. Chargers against the Houston Texans.
Moron.
On the road, I get it. But I said, man, the Texans just – C.J. Stroud has had such an up-and-down season. I know their defense is pretty good. Much maligned, really. They played great that day. But I said, yeah, that's my lock. And thank God he did not. He goes, I didn't bet anything. But I did. A hefty sum.
I actually was looking at the under for that game.
Yeah.
And it would have hit. It should have hit. There was no action. It was a very boring game.
Yeah.
A little exciting there at the end. And then when they had that, what the hell happened on that extra point?
Yeah.
That the kicker, like, all he had to do was just catch the ball and go down or whatever, and he
bats it down.
swatted it down on the ground, and then Houston runs it back. That ended up killing me.
You know, I'm watching that game. The family and I went out to dinner, and I'm watching the game on the TV, and I see Justin Herbert just get clocked and just crushed. 2 defensive linemen pin him, and he just withers to the ground. Then he gets up, and he makes the best throw of the playoffs, maybe, and hits the dude in stride for a touchdown. And I go, all right, so they're going to crawl back into it. Then what happens? The extra point comes along. Next thing you know, Houston's running it back for 2 points. And I just go, nothing's changed. Not one thing's changed. I cannot believe I fell into that trap. Never again.
I'd like to say I saw it coming because, I wanted it to happen.
Oh, yeah.
I was resident Charger hater. I wanted it to happen, but I kind of agreed with you. I just thought this is one they should win.
Oh, yeah.
And watching the first half, they were clearly looked to me like the better team. They weren't capitalizing on their opportunities, but they dominated. But we're only up, 6-0 until the last minute of the first half. And then in the last minute, the Texans scored a touchdown, got a turnover, scored a field goal, and the Chargers went down at halftime 10-6, even though they were the better team for 29 of the first 30 minutes of the game. And I thought to myself at that point, well, they can't play a much better half than they did the first half, and they're losing. So
you say that, but I go, because I had a buddy that said the same thing. Like, Chargers have just dominated this game. I'm like, it's 6-0. Nobody's dominated anybody. What are you talking about?
Well, they wasted too many opportunities when they should have built a 20-7 lead or something in the first half. They didn't. And then the second half, I mean, I don't know if Justin Herbert was rattled, as you said, because he was taking some shots, but it wasn't the old, that was an unlucky pick. He was making bad throws.
Yeah, there was one.
Bad throws.
Will Dissly, it went right through his hands. That happens. It's good. Look, and that's the thing. I saw a lot of Charger fans on the timeline saying, look, you can't put all of those on Herbert. That's fine. I mean, look, at the end of the day, though, when you make, what's he making, this $50 million? It's going to be on you every single time. Every single time. Whether your receiver biffs it, at the end of the day, they look at your line and they go, you threw 3 interceptions all season, you threw 4 on Saturday.
That was the stat that got me. In the calendar year 2024, Justin Herbert threw 3 interceptions. Already in calendar year 2025, he's thrown 4 in one game, and it was the playoffs, and they are out.
I mean, just incredible. Yeah, the Chargers took it away 3 times, 3 sacks, and you still lose that game. Ladd McConkey is a stud. There's no doubt about it. He is an absolute superstar, almost 200 yards. But yeah, I just don't. I can't believe I fell for it. I cannot believe I fell for it again. And now I know better.
There's one thing I did like about that game, especially
the ending.
Scoregami. Oh, God. 32-12 had never happened in NFL history, and that was the first time. The other game on Saturday. I was on the Steelers side. I regretted that. I mean, within, 1 minute, I go, oh no, this is not. If they can't stop the run, there's no chance for the Steelers to win this game.
Not a lot of teams can stop Derrick Henry
or
Lamar Jackson. Both of them on the field at the same time.
From a Ravens perspective, I did think there was that stretch in the first half where it was like Lamar Jackson, option, he runs. Option, he runs. Option, he runs. And I go, man, I don't like my quarterback to get hit that often, to run that many plays in a row, but sure is effective. I mean, it's almost impossible to stop. They just kept going after Derrick Henry, and they'd fake the handoff, and the defender who was in the backfield would go after Henry, and Jackson would just keep it and run it for another 8 to 10 yards. Like every single play. And they just kept massing up the yardage. And then eventually, of course, Henry broke out and got his. Overall, Henry finished with 186 yards rushing and 2 touchdowns. Lamar Jackson finished with 81 yards rushing. He also threw for 2 touchdowns. Baltimore setting a record with 299 playoff rushing yards against the Pittsburgh Steelers in a 28-14 win on Saturday night.
They punished the Steelers. They really did. The final score, I mean, it could have been way worse. Ravens defense was really, really good. Pitched a shutout in the first half, as you saw. That was easy money as far as I was concerned. But the way that Lamar is playing, getting a little bit of that monkey off his back in the playoffs and against that team, like, sky's the limit for them.
What do you do in Pittsburgh? I'm sure Pittsburgh sports radio right now is just unbelievable because Pittsburgh, like more than any other team, I would say in all of professional sports, I don't know enough about a couple of sports, but like they've had 5 head coaches in franchise history?
Continuity is a big
something
thing.
Like that. They don't like to switch coaches at all.
They've already said they're not.
And they're not going to. But
they're not going to. They're running it back with Mike Tomlin.
Is that not what everyone is clamoring for? Like, you haven't made the playoffs?
There's been a lot of talk.
Won a playoff game in 10 years.
Yeah, there's been a lot of talk that, Mike Tomlin's time has come. I look at that roster and I look at an inferior roster to the Baltimore Ravens team. I still think Mike Tomlin gets about as much out of his teams as he can.
Boy, our boss, Michael, is a huge, huge Steelers fan, and he is fit. He's probably going to wreck his
in our
car
lifetime,
right
it's been what? Chuck Noll, Bill Cowher, Mike Tomlin.
Yeah.
Those have been the 3 coaches of the Pittsburgh Steelers, essentially for our entire lifetime.
Jacob says you can't fire a coach after that many winning seasons. It's this inability to move beyond, getting to the first round of the playoffs and losing.
But they weren't. It's not like they were favored and they blew it in a lot of these games.
No, they were what? It was 9.5-point dogs. Or
they
something,
were huge
weren't they?
dogs against a really good team, and you're going to say Mike Tomlin did something wrong? I just don't know that you can. I don't think you can blame Mike Tomlin for this.
It's but again, it's the body of work. It's the last 10 years or whatever.
Remember, Russell Wilson looked, terrible in his last year
Yeah.
in Seattle. Horrifically bad with the Broncos, who, by the way, as soon as they got rid of him, playoff team with rookie quarterback Bo Nix, and somehow Mike Tomlin gets Russell Wilson to the playoffs with the Pittsburgh Steelers. I say coach of the year. Don't fire him. The guy knows what he's doing. And my guess is if you fired Mike Tomlin, you'd be downgrading. Whoever you ended up hiring, you would be taking a step down from Mike Tomlin. Now, there was Phil Jackson who said, hey, coaches have about a 7-year
shelf life
at one place. And then you gotta move on at some point to somewhere else. You might be able to squeeze another couple of years out of that, but message gets stale. You've got to move on.
I think in professional sports, there's no position more important than a quarterback to an NFL team. Like, if you do not have a quarterback, you can't go that far in the NFL. And as I'm looking at their quarterback history in Pittsburgh, Roethlisberger, I didn't realize he played until 2021.
Yeah.
Then
it was Kenny Pickett.
Call it the last 5 years of his career, he was obviously on the downward slope. And then you go to Mason Rudolph, Kenny Pickett, Mitchell Trubisky, and then Russell Wilson and Justin Fields this year. He hasn't had a whole lot to work with over the last couple.
And yet they still win.
Still win
10 games and make the playoffs. More often, almost every season. I don't know.
Any other team, he would be the scapegoat, I think.
He would be hired quickly by someone else if he wanted to go anywhere else.
I believe that as well.
All right, we'll move on to Sunday's games and take a look at the Bills-Broncos and Eagles-Packers, and then the Sunday night game as well after a quick check of traffic here on 97.3 The Fan.
From the 855 Get Ross Traffic Center, protecting San Diego after accidents or injury, here's Kelly Danek.
Well, guys, the last thing we need are fires of any kind. We are getting reports of a homeless encampment fire on northbound 5 near the La Jolla Village Drive off-ramp. It's over to the right shoulder. And it looks like we still have this traffic alert on the coastline, northbound 5, stalled semi past Tamarack. 2 right lanes are blocked. And Kelly Danek with Ben and Woods, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
Please be safe out there. Did not like that report just now from Kelly Danek.
High winds and
brush
stuff,
fires,
too.
you say, in La Jolla? Ugh.
All right, well, we'll keep our fingers crossed on that, and we'll move on to Sunday's games in the NFL. And it really started with a bang. The Broncos at the Bills, and I think it was the 5th play of the game.
Well, I got nervous on that one.
Goes deep and connects with Troy Franklin on a 43-yard touchdown, and Broncos are up 7-0, and I'm thinking, could I have been this wrong again? I thought the Bills were They were just going to absolutely obliterate the Broncos. I thought the Broncos were clearly an overachiever, took advantage of a soft schedule, and were going to be more than happy to get their playoff appearance and then try to build some momentum in the next season after taking their L in Buffalo. And they're up 7-0 and looking like, they might hang with the Bills. And they never scored again.
No.
They never scored again. The Bills took control. Josh Allen threw a pair of second-half touchdown passes, and James Cook, some hard-nosed running for the Bills with 120 yards rushing and a touchdown as the Bills did what the Bills were supposed to do and went on to a 31-7 win over the Denver Broncos yesterday morning.
And setting us up for just an incredible game.
Could be the Super Bowl.
It just is so good. The Ravens, of course, will be taking on the Bills, and I couldn't enjoy watching 2 teams more, maybe other than the Detroit Lions. I really enjoy watching all 3 of those teams play football. And, this is the Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen. You heard the people calling the Lamar game, that's your MVP. You heard the people calling the Josh Allen game, that's your MVP. It's crazy. And they said they should wait till after this game to make their decision. They're not going to. But I was really impressed with Josh Allen. I was really impressed with the defense, the play calling, all of it for Buffalo. Yeah, just never let them back in the game at all.
Well, the Bills and Ravens met in Week 4 of the regular season in Baltimore, and the Ravens trashed the Bills. It was like 35-10 or something. I would imagine it's going to be a lot closer.
I know we're going to get into a little preview. We got all week to do so.
Yep.
But early line for that game, Buffalo hosting the Ravens on Sunday. Yep. Baltimore's favored.
Interesting.
By 1. Essentially a pick 'em.
Essentially a pick 'em, but I would have thought those are two really good teams. You give the home team, 2.5 or something. No, Buffalo is the dog in that game.
So we're down now to the last 4 teams in the AFC, and I thought the clear winner so far in the playoffs is once again the Kansas City Chiefs, who got to watch as the other teams beat up on each other. They emerged to take on a Texans team, and they're not gonna overlook the Texans after what they did to the Chargers. But you got to be happy getting to host the Texans while the Bills and Ravens have to battle against each other in the other game. And you're like, fine, go ahead, beat up on each other, and likely we'll get to host whoever emerges bloodied and
battered.
beaten and battered from that game at Arrowhead Stadium with a chance to go to yet another Super Bowl. I mean, if you're the Chiefs fans, you're just sitting back laughing again. Like,
Yeah, here we go again.
Here we go again.
Like, you could probably safely book your book your hotel. You can book your flight, book your hotel.
New Orleans, here we come.
Yeah, it's just the path is right there for you.
Now I can see with the Chiefs didn't play this week. They rested everybody last week.
Yep.
I can see the Texans even jumping out
To a
early.
lead. Yeah.
We got a good defense. Probably going to be a somewhat low scoring game. And I guarantee you, the Chiefs will make 1 or 2 big plays that they have to in the second half. They will pull out the win. They will stay at home all week, and they will host the AFC Championship game.
Depending, Paulie,
in 2 weeks.
is there an early line on that game? Because I may hammer the Texans and the points because I'm assuming.
Yeah.
I like the under, whatever that is. I think.
Let's see that game on Saturday. Kansas City is favored by 7.5 right now, opening line, and the total is 41.5.
Texans under. I like Texans under.
Texans under.
in
It's
that
not a
game
bad-
actually with
not a
that
bad
with that
pick.
line. But I do think Kansas City is going to win, and they will continue their pursuit.
I would look at the first half line, maybe even in that game, like Houston in the first half.
Yeah,
keeping
first
it
half.
close.
Yeah, Kansas City coming out a little
Slow.
rusty and
Kansas
slow.
City does not cover a lot.
No,
they like to play close games.
No, and they haven't scored a ton this year either.
Yeah.
And Houston's defense is definitely dangerous, so they're not going to want to take any big chances where they can give up a pick 6 like, the Texans had against the Chargers. So, yeah, I can see kind of a tentative, low scoring, especially first half in that game. And they did, by the way, we need to get into the NFC games coming up, but as long as we're talking about next weekend, they did release the schedule for next weekend already for the divisional round of the playoffs. So here's what it's going to look like. Next Saturday, it starts with Houston at Kansas City. It's a 1:30 game our time on ABC and ESPN. And then the second game on Saturday will be Washington at Detroit. That's 5 p.m. on Fox. And then on Sunday, it'll be the winner of tonight's game, the Vikings and the Rams at Philadelphia. Ooh. That's a noon start on NBC. So Sunday Night Football is actually the early game on Sunday. And then the late game on CBS is Baltimore at Buffalo. So they'll wrap up kind of what we think is the marquee game of the weekend on CBS at 3:30 on Sunday for that game. So that's the schedule for next weekend.
Yeah, and as you said, we do need to get into the NFC games, and we will do that. Certainly, we've got a couple hours left of the program. Really good one last night. I mean, tough ending for Baker Mayfield and the Bucks, but a lot of credit
that
goes
was the
to
best game of the weekend.
It was, and of course, it's the third game. I'm pretty burnt. Like at that point, I'm like, but I need to watch this. It's really, really good. I was kind of hoping for a blowout there so I could turn it off, but no, man, you had to sit and watch to the end as they win it on a last-second field goal.
Yeah, I saw a lot of comparisons to the college football playoffs.
Yeah.
Like, the NFL doesn't seem to have figured out their matchups any better than college football. And it's actually a valid point. When you have early round matchups, they're kind of supposed to be the blowout games.
Yeah.
Well, why didn't you have that take with college football?
I did.
You didn't.
I said the games have been bad. I didn't say the format was bad. This is how 12 to 14 team playoffs look. The first rounds tend to be blowouts.
I mean, 20-point difference, 14-point difference, 24-point difference, 12-point difference, and then finally a 5-point.
Yeah, it's just not a great way to avoid it.
I have a different perspective because I bet on every game this weekend. I really enjoyed the playoffs I enjoyed the games yesterday. Did not win a single bet on Saturday at all.
Correct me if I'm wrong, and this isn't an insult. I think it's actually smart. You're a very chalky better.
Yeah.
You bet a lot of favorites to cover.
And if it's a big point spread, I usually roll with the point. I like points, too.
Yeah.
I like a lot of points.
Either
So
big points
if
or
like
the
college
favorites.
basketball,
Worse
like
than rooting for an under.
oh, I know. I can't do it. I bet with my heart a lot.
All right, we'll get into the NFC, college football, and more. Coming up, second half of Ben and Woods on the way on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
All right, we are halfway home on a Monday. Ben and Woods, 97.3, The Fan. Great to be here with you this morning. I'm Woodsy. That's Paul Reindl, the executive producer. Ben Higgins, your friendly neighborhood sports anchor. And lest anyone think we forgot, wasn't just some off-the-cuff bit that we did. I don't like this, but it has to be done. Paulie, if you would, you may remember we talked about it last week, and I'm trying to remember how we got into it as the payoff for a bet on our college or our pro football pick'em.
Oh.
But the loser was going to have to wear a mesh shirt for an hour.
Right said Ben. It was
Right said Ben. That's exactly right. You did
my voice.
I'm too sexy, and I laughed at the video because he has that mesh shirt on, and I thought, man, what a terrible, terrible thing to have to wear.
I'm too sexy for my shirt. Too sexy for my shirt. So sexy it hurts.
I will never forget that as long as I live. And so I went last week, and I went to Amazon, and of course they had a mesh shirt there, and I bought one, and I had it delivered yesterday to the house. And I
yeah, on the catwalk, yeah, I shake my little tush on the catwalk.
Mm-hmm.
My voice does sound better.
It
It's
does-
not
it does.
perfect,
Sounds
but it's
better than that.
definitely better than it was last week.
Yeah, for sure. In typical Woods fashion, I make the bets on the air, and I forget who I picked. So I literally was like, I think I was on the Packers in 9.5. I don't remember. I know I lost that one. But, Paulie, if you could give us an update on where everybody stands, that'd be great.
We were all on the same page on the first game, Chargers and Texans. We all lost that one.
We all lost that one, okay?
We go to, let's see, Pittsburgh and Baltimore on Saturday night. The Ravens were covering 9.5 points was the spread there. Woods and Paul picked Baltimore.
Oh, I thought I picked the
Benny picked
No,
the Steelers.
I knew I took the Steelers, and I regretted that. I regretted that almost before the kickoff.
Okay.
So that's the first story.
I was down early, I know.
Okay.
We all picked Buffalo to win.
All right, got that
and
one.
Cover 8.5
one.
points. Eagles and Packers. Philly was covering 4.5
Got
points.
I got that one. I had Eagles.
I had the Eagles as well.
I had Packers.
Uh-oh, now it's interesting.
Tied
Between you guys. Now, at that point, I was already safe. I had 3 correct picks. You each had 2.
Okay.
I was already safe because we all picked Minnesota tonight.
Correct.
So nothing can change.
So the winner
It
is
came
crowned,
down to
or I guess the loser is crowned today.
It came down to the Commanders-Bucks, the final game last night, Sunday Night Football. Tampa Bay -3 was the line.
They were up by 4. I was riding with Baker Mayfield. They had the ball. And they decided that they forgot their snap timing and could not hand the ball off.
Yeah.
Yep.
That was very frustrating.
So
Very frustrating.
Ben and I both picked Tampa Bay.
Oh.
Woodsy picked Washington +3, and Woodsy got the win. So now Woods and I each have 3 points, 3 correct picks over the weekend. Possible 4, I guess, if Minnesota wins tonight. Ben, though, the most he can get.
I'm going to give you guys a chance. If you would like to change your pick tonight, if you feel like you may want to go with the Rams, I'm going to give you that opportunity right now. One time only.
I'm going to pass, and I'm going to give you the opportunity to step behind that partition there and go ahead and put. I brought it. It's very tight. It's a large.
A large.
It's a large.
I haven't worn a large in a long time.
So
On the catwalk,
I did
I
think
shake my little tush on the catwalk.
you're going to get to shake your little tush for all of us for the next hour in this.
I wasn't prepared for this. I thought this was going to be on Tuesday. I knew if I was going to lose, I'd want to perhaps prepare with some personal grooming of sorts.
Like what?
You know, I was going to buy one of those maybe like body hair trimmers or something. I don't have a great chest for public display.
Yeah, none of us do, which is why this is a horrible and awesome bet.
It was a bad idea. It seemed like a better idea when I just assumed it would be you or maybe Paul who would be wearing this. I have a reputation to uphold in San Diego.
It's going to take a hit today. All right, so
Satan's Blowfish, does he get to cop out with an undershirt?
No,
absolutely
not. No, I might have modeled it yesterday.
Oh, you sent us a picture.
And I sent you guys a picture. You can post the picture, but mine's only going to be up for a second. You feel free to post the picture when you want.
It's not good.
But if you could step back behind the partition and then you can emerge. If you're not on YouTube right now, I'm very sorry. I'm very, very sorry.
We got about 2 minutes to
go to YouTube.
On your
can
phone.
I at least? Is there any chance?
Yeah,
I will pay it off. I made the bet. I'm not going to welch.
$1,000 each. I'll let you out of it.
No. Is there any chance though that we can not maybe like share this video?
I promise you, I will
public?
not share it.
I will not repurpose this. I can't speak for our tier ones.
Can I ask all the tier ones out there for a favor?
Sure.
This
you
is
can ask
just for
them.
This is live, one time only.
1 hour.
You know
only.
how things on the internet never die?
Correct.
This dies quickly.
Yeah.
We're never seen from again. This is not something you want to keep around and make memes or gifs out of.
Right.
None of that, please.
No, none of that will happen. Our audience is they hate doing things like that. They hate it.
Exactly.
Curtis says you have his word. So there's one. There's one guy.
All right.
So
it's Curtis. I got your word.
if you would step behind the partition.
There's the picture that Wood sent.
Where is it?
No.
It's not good.
It's not good at all.
There's some,
Here you go.
I can see a lot of nip.
There's so much nip. Look at that. That's man style. So, Paulie, my reasoning, you might ask, hey, we're all bigger guys. Why did you get a large? It wasn't to be a jerk. I thought they were stretchy, like really, really
That's
stretchy.
That's a fair assumption.
I thought it was stretchy, so I thought, all right, an XL may drape off of us. I wanted it to be.
You showed it to me this morning, and I was like pulling. I'm like, yeah, there's no give here.
There's
at
not a
all.
lot of give. I mean, I'm looking back right now. He's struggling to get it on.
Boy.
Oh, actually, fits pretty well. Oh, this is the
How do you feel, Ben?
This is the worst.
He is not
It's
having a good
not-
time right
Let's
now.
see. All right, so here he comes. That is.
my God.
That is.
Oh my God.
It's initial thoughts.
Oh my God.
I feel
Do
a little
it.
encased like a
freshly
sausaged meat product.
Do you want to put the camera down
Lower
on
that
your
camera.
bomber? He
What do
has
you
it
mean?
up in
Right
the
now.
air, so nobody can see it.
Keep going.
Oh,
God.
no!
Oh no!
I
You
broke
can't
the
do
camera.
this.
How sad.
Here, Paulie, turn your.
I'll figure it
will
out. I'll figure it
this
out. Here we
if
go.
You can't.
Here we go.
How do you feel in that shirt? Do you feel
I
good?
feel.
Do you feel
cold,
sexy a little bit?
cold. All right. Are we good?
Do you feel sexy a little bit? Play the song too, Paulie, while we put the camera down.
I'm too sexy
Oh my
for
God.
my shirt.
Is he on?
Too sexy for
Is
my
it on there?
shirt. So sexy it hurts.
Yeah, it does hurt.
And I'm too
Chafes
sexy
a little.
for Milan. Too sexy for Milan, New York, and Japan.
Can we agree?
Let's just say I'm very glad that I'm post SDFatLoss.com and not pre
You
SDFatLoss.com.
actually look pretty hot,
For your
dude.
body in a
So
way I
tight.
feel
It's so
sexy.
tight.
So tight.
I'm a model, you know
It's
what
so
I mean,
good.
and
You look good in it.
Stand
Dare
up.
I say? Take your glasses off.
Yeah, on the catwalk.
All right, that's
On the catwalk, yeah, I do my little
that
turn
is
on the
unbelievable.
catwalk.
Do you feel? Is there any?
Exposed is the word.
Do you
I think
feel
we're
sexy at
feeling
all?
Like.
Do you feel sexy at all?
A little bit, actually.
Yeah, you kind of do. I had it on yesterday, and I didn't wear it in front of my kids. They've already been
Everyone's
damaged.
saying, bro, it doesn't look that bad.
This is
You can't believe how much I'm sucking it in right now, though. I don't know that I can do this for. We said 1 hour, right? So until 9 o'clock. Does this count? This segment counts for this hour.
You look good. If this isn't a testament to SD fat loss, I don't know what is. But that is a fashion choice.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a choice.
You look
It's a
way better.
choice.
I don't see hairs or anything sticking through, so I think
That's
you're
good. I mean, maybe that was the design of
he's
the
like-
mesh shirt.
He's like shimmying back and forth.
It covers
so
just enough.
just enough
Yeah.
to leave a little bit to
Of
the
it, yeah.
imagination, maybe. I don't know, maybe I'll just add this to the repertoire.
It's yours if you want it. It kind of does.
Can you like move at all? How
No,
tight is it?
It lifts your pecs up, so it looks like you have pecs.
It does. It is
Yeah.
very supporting.
It
like
looks
a, like
good.
A bra. It's got a little bit of a kind of a bra feature here.
It looks good. Well, I mean, listen, bets suck, man. When you have to pay off a bet, it's not the best thing ever. This is incredible.
I should have picked the Ravens. That was dumb.
He has
I'm okay with my Bucks pick. I felt good about the Bucks.
And they should have won that game.
And they should have won that game. The picking the Steelers, that was dumb. That was my bad. And if that's why I deserve this, that's why I deserve this. That was a bad pick by me.
Nick's just been lost on purpose. It's really good. That's a good payoff.
Yeah.
See, you're seeing it a lot right now. Fantasy football season's ending. I saw it over the weekend. 1,000 people tweeting about their payoffs. I got to do a shot, knocks off an hour. A waffle at Waffle House knocks off an hour. I got to be here 24 hours. This is better than that. That's
I guess so.
Yeah,
I guess
think?
that's better than
At least you don't have to eat waffles or drink whiskey for 12 hours or something. But
all right. Well, for the first time in Take on Woods history, I will be hosting in a mesh shirt in our next segment.
It looks good.
But we need a contestant to call in 833-288-0973 if you want to try to qualify for the trip to Las Vegas and take on Woods in our first musical trivia challenge of the week. Call in now, and we will play our game, and then we'll get into the NFC games from the weekend and some college football and more as our hour rolls on after a check of traffic here on 97.3 The Fan.
It's naughty.
Hamul Casino. Fun above all else.
Oh, man.
One of my favorites. And you know, if I lost, I would have worn it.
I do know that.
You know that.
Always follow through.
Always.
Sometimes to your own detriment,
Correct.
but you always follow through.
You know I would have done it. I tried it
It's
on
why
yesterday.
I try to be more careful about the bets that we make.
That's true.
because we do actually follow through on them.
I think
it's important
your
to us.
I think your ego might have gotten the best of you.
I didn't think I was. I did. Yes, I did. Well, yeah, you're right. But you and Paulie do a lot more against the spread.
Yeah.
Selections, as it were, than I do. That's a little different. I just pick winners generally. The spread tends to add another element, although can't say it made any difference in the picks that I made.
No, not really.
Commanders won straight up. Didn't even need the spread to cover. They won that game fair and square. And I am fair and square in the mesh shirt.
Now, did you zoom in your camera on purpose, or is it
No,
just
I
zoomed
didn't.
Because I like it kind of zoomed out a little bit and get the whole package, as it were. The solo screen is the tough. You know, the funny thing is, I would love you if you wore that every day. But I'm not used to it
I
yet.
will say, however,
Different
the camera is set up right now. This is Ben and Wood's graphic is very strategically placed to
Over your
block
nipples.
the naughty bits.
Right.
Yes.
Let's change that.
Yeah, you can move that. Put it over our eyes if you wanted to. That is. Nope, there we go.
There it is.
It looks like you have huge defined pecs.
Yeah.
It really.
Like all you do
It's
is
always
hit
been my
bench.
dream.
I know, mine too. And it tightens it up, and it looks like you have really. You look like Captain America right now, for real, in a mesh shirt, but which is fine.
I've always wanted them. Never really had them
Well, you have
until
them now.
Today. Thank you, mesh
Can you make
shirts.
a
Today you
chance?
have it.
All right. Shall we play a little Take on Woods?
Sure.
All right.
This
I
is
see
gonna
some
be weird.
contestants on
Yeah.
the line. Let's get to it. Time for our game. All right, it is time to try to qualify another listener for a getaway to Las Vegas. And I'm going to go to our phone board here, and I see David. Are you there? David. Let's speak up a little bit. Let me make sure your phone is working.
Yes, good morning.
Oh, yeah, there I got you. I got you good. Okay. We got 5 questions of musical trivia. If you can beat or tie Woods, we will put you into the drawing for our grand prize, which is a 2-night stay at Planet Hollywood in Las Vegas, 2 tickets to see the Scorpions, and a $100 gas card. Check out the Scorpions returning 60 years. Scorpions Las Vegas residency show live February 27th to March 11th at PH Live at Planet Hollywood Resort and Casino. Tickets are on sale now at Ticketmaster.com. Now, normally you get a big advantage by picking the category. I will say I have now 2 mystery categories in there because people avoid them so often. So we'll call it Mystery Category A and Mystery Category B. Each one of those, the 2-second song, will give you the clue as to the rest of the category. The other one is called All In, and it is 5 song titles that begin with the word all. And it's an all 2-second song category. So you got either 2 mystery categories or All In. David, what would you like to play?
Let's go to the mystery category.
All right, we will go with the mystery category A.
Hey.
Yeah, number 21 on your chart there, Paulie. All right, today's mystery category should be pretty simple if you can get our 2-second song, the title of which will be the first word of the rest of the song titles. All right, so if you get that one, that'll help you out a lot. I do think you can figure this out, though. You'll have 60 seconds. If you don't know an answer, say pass. We can come back to it if there's time left on the clock. And again, to score the point on the 2-second song, you need to give me the title, 1-word title, and the artist to score that point. David, are you ready to play?
I'm ready, guys.
All right,
Do it.
60 seconds on the clock in the mystery category. Your time begins when Paul plays the music. Good luck, David. Let's take on Woods. Pass. All right. Which 1987 song by the group Inner Circle became the TV theme for the show Cops?
Bad Boy.
Correct. Which signature hit from Jim Croce includes the line, meaner than a junkyard dog?
Bad Bad Leroy Brown.
Correct. Taylor Swift released a remix version with Kendrick Lamar of which 2014 hit from her album 1989.
Pass.
VH1 named which hit from the debut album of Joan Jett and the Blackhearts as one of the top 30 hard rock songs of all time?
Let's rock and roll.
That's incorrect. Go back to the first song. You should know the title by now.
God.
10 seconds.
All right, time is up. You get two there. Bad Boys and Bad Bad Leroy Brown. Now, if you know, I told you that the first word was the song title, which means that song title had to be Bad, which it was Bad by Michael Jackson. The other two were Bad Blood by Taylor Swift and Bad Reputation by Joan Jett and the Blackhearts. So 2 is your score. Hang on the line, David. We'll bring Woods back in. We'll put 60 seconds back on the clock. Your time begins
very
with,
comfortable.
Your time begins when Paul plays the music. Good luck, Woods. Let's take on David.
Pass.
Which 1987 song by the group Inner Circle became the theme for the TV show Cops?
Bad Boys?
Correct. Which signature hit from Jim Croce includes the line, meaner than a junkyard dog?
Bad Leroy Brown. Baddest man in the whole damn town.
Bad Leroy Brown.
Bad Leroy.
Taylor Swift released a remix version with Kendrick Lamar, of which 2014 hit from her album 1989.
Bad Blood.
Correct. VH1 named which hit from the debut album of Joan Jett and the Blackhearts is one of the
Bad
top.
Reputation.
Correct. Go back to our 2-second song.
Oh, Michael Jackson, Bad.
Bad. There you go. And that is a 4.5. It's Bad Leroy Brown.
Oh, Bad
is
Leroy
what the
Brown.
title is, which is one of the ones that David got. He got Bad Boys, but you're a 4-2 winner officially today.
Take it.
In a mystery category. David, thank you for playing. Woods figured it out, though, sussed it out on the mystery category.
It is weird that you're doing the category. What was the category? Bad Boys?
It was a mystery category, Bad, and then everything started with Bad
As
after
you
that.
wear that mesh shirt.
Because
Bad
I'm,
Boy Ben.
I'm bad.
You're Bad Boy
There's
Ben.
nothing inherently bad about a mesh shirt. Don't value judge.
Like,
it could be people just don't like a lot of air and just like
they don't like a lot of
they
air?
want to feel a lot of air,
On
just
their
like
skin?
get some fresh air on their skin.
Yeah.
There can be medical reasons why you'd want to wear a mesh shirt.
Can you see yourself wearing that around, walking around Encinitas on a hot summer day?
It's possible.
Now, they say, one of your favorite parts about playing golf at Goat Hill is you don't have to dress all stodgy with slacks and a collared shirt. You can wear a T-shirt. You can wear a mesh shirt.
Ooh, that's the next
Yeah.
bet. You gotta
This
play an entire
particular
round
mesh
in a
shirt, I would not be able to get my arms over my head
To
to
get
finish
a
the
good
golf.
swing?
I'm about here as far as I can go.
You could putt really well.
I could
in it.
putt, yeah. It'd be nice and
tight.
constricted. Keep my stroke right in line.
Settle down over there. Talking about in that shirt. Did you just say you could keep his stroke in line?
Yeah, there
as
you
he's
go.
wearing that shirt.
All right, we will take a little time out. When we come back, let's get into those NFC games. And the one good one from last night, obviously some drama at the end. First, though, Woods is going to tell us about Loan Pronto.
Yes, sir. My friends, if you are a homeowner, do not go through another year with all that high-interest debt. Use Loan Pronto to wipe it all out now. Their rapid equity loan makes it easy to pay off all your credit cards, tackle the 2025 home improvement project, get cash in your pocket fast, no appraisals, no paperwork, no waiting. Their AI-driven technology gets you approved and funded in as little as a day. Low fixed rates, lightning fast transfers, you can do it too. Consolidate your debt, improve your home, take control of your finances in 2025. Imagine this time next week. Imagine getting Roki Sasaki this time next week. Also, you could be credit card debt by next Monday. How about that? Don't wait. Call Loan Pronto now, 619-207-4336, or go to loanpronto.com. Get your free quote now with no hard credit pull. That's very important. 619-207-4336 or loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender, NMLS 1661781. Subject to lender approval, NMLSconsumeraccess.org.
My requested wishes to keep this off the internet seem to have been ignored.
I think it fell on deaf ears.
Yes. If you're just joining us, I am paying off our NFL Wildcard Round Pick'em segment from last week. I finished one pick behind both Woodsy and Paul. Regardless of what happens tonight, we all have the Vikings.
Yes.
And I have to wear a Right Said Fred, I'm Too Sexy mesh shirt for the rest of the hour. So, hence... Ben,
I'm too sexy for my cat.
You did this, by the way.
Sexy
Had you never
for my cat.
gone outside of your
Pussy.
comfort zone and did a
Pussy
bit on
cat.
your own, I never would have thought of this.
fair enough.
That's a good point.
Fair enough.
You kind of walked yourself right
Kind
into
of
Here
this.
we
You
are.
did.
So it makes sense that, we're talking about the NFL playoffs right now and my failure, as it were. I want to get to the NFC games in the NFC playoffs. And you had the first one yesterday. The Philadelphia Eagles and the Green Bay Packers wasn't the most scintillating game ever. The game started with the Packers taking the opening kick and fumbling.
So I saw, we all saw this.
Yes.
They
They
recovered this.
It definitely felt like the Packers ended up with a football. So why is it that the Eagles had the
Get
football?
the ball at
I'm
the
not
50
sure.
or whatever. Like to start the game, all the momentum swings in their favor. I mean, I watched the replay 25 times and I go, I don't see how he lost that ball.
You wonder why on earth do they always do that giant big scrum
Yes.
after a fumble?
That's
There's
why
a
they
big
do it.
pile and everyone's jumping in there. So this one time in a million that no one sees the fact that someone stole the ball away under
the
pile
ground after the play's
play's
over.
long over. Remember,
Yeah.
once they're down, and so the instant they're down and they're holding on to that ball, the play is technically over.
Right.
But if no one can see the fact that you're down under that pile and have the ball, well, they'll just keep fighting and, until someone emerges with the ball and, possession is 9/10 of the law. So
Yeah.
when an Eagles player runs out with it, it's like, I guess he must have recovered, even though it really looked like he was down, had the ball, the Packers guy, and it should have just been Green Bay 1st and 10. So Eagles capitalized 3 plays later. Jalen Hurts throws a touchdown pass, and, Philly never trails the rest of the game.
Just like that.
It's a big
man.
moment, a huge moment.
Huge moment. But Philly looked good, man. Saquon Barkley is what a pickup. You're seeing again. It's so funny, too, because we always talk about, like, the devaluation of running backs, right, in the NFL, until the clock strikes playoff time. And you better make sure you have a good one. The first thing you want to do as a playoff team is establish the run. They all did it. They all tried to do it, every single team. I think you see it in college football as well. Everyone is trying to establish the run, but nobody wants to pay for a running back anymore. It's the most ass-end, makes no sense thing in professional sports.
It's funny because you watch the games this weekend, and they actually didn't bear a lot of resemblance to regular season games.
No.
I'm not saying NFL players are not soft. Don't get me wrong. It's a tough game no matter what. But you could tell that they were playing with more physicality and intensity. Just the fact that, it was the Ravens ran an entire drive, 13 plays. We're just running it.
Yeah.
And there's no thought of, hey, let's save some wear and tear on our running back and our quarterback anymore. You're in the playoffs.
This
and
is
if
it.
it's
Yep.
effective. They're just going to stick with it. And you saw, with Derrick Henry. You saw that with Saquon Barkley. You saw it even with the tight ends and Dallas Goedert, his touchdown. I mean, fighting his way down the sideline, stiff-arming, pushing, and just battling. There was an extra level of intensity.
Yeah, it's the playoffs.
That you could
It's
see
crazy.
it was ramped up for sure this weekend.
You know, you see it in basketball. You see it in baseball. How about the defense in March Madness? Now, again, it's just a perfect example of why you can't play 162 games with your hair on fire. You just can't. You will burn out. You will get hurt. It will not happen. You can't do it in football either. If it's week 6 and you have an opportunity, Ben, to drop your helmet and get an extra yard or go out of bounds, you're going to go out of bounds because you're preserving yourself for the greater good, which is, of course, the playoffs. But again, I find it so interesting that every one of these teams is like really heavily relying on a running back, but nobody wants to pay for a good running back anymore. Very few teams want to.
So the Eagles were ahead 22-10, trying to close out the game, fourth quarter late, driving, getting the first down. They hand it to Saquon Barkley, and he emerges out of a giant hole with nothing but daylight ahead of him. Seemingly could have run all the way for a touchdown to make it 29-10, but took the knee, slid down, and allowed the Eagles to just run out the clock as opposed to giving the ball back. Technically, probably the smart thing to do. Tom Brady on the broadcast said, I don't know that I would have been quite so
heady
team thinking in that situation. He could have taken the touchdown. The reason why it was so talked about is that no player in the betting markets of the who's going to score a touchdown had more money on them this weekend to score a touchdown than Saquon Barkley.
Touchdown.
The anytime touchdown prop bet. Saquon Barkley had the most money on him in Vegas this weekend. So there were a lot of people who were not that happy to see Saquon take the slide there as opposed to going to the house and cashing all those tickets.
And again, the logic behind it is that you don't want the defense to have to come back out and them running plays to try to score and potentially get somebody to hurt.
Guaranteeing the win, I guess.
You just guarantee
then you just take one
So
snap and take a knee. If they're up 29-10, it's a 3-score game and there's like 40 seconds
You're done.
left.
Game's
You've
over.
won either way. The
But
Packers
you
are
keep
probably just going to
keep the ball in your hands. Defense doesn't have to go back out.
It's like taking a knee instead of just handing it off and running it. Like, it's he probably won't fumble if we just ran it.
It guarantees, like Satan says, it guarantees the win.
The win was guaranteed either
The win
way.
was guaranteed. They're going to win that.
I will point out two things. There is a chance. There was one, I think, DB who was he was behind him, but he was coming to the right, and they get caught from behind. Even the fast running backs get caught from behind by those DBs. So he might not have made it all the way. I will say, though, I mean, there's history involved. You don't get that many. How many playoff games has Saquon Barkley had in his career? None? Was that his first one? I think it was first one after he finally left the Giants. Is that true?
That's a smart move.
And
it's a smart
move, but you also have
unselfish.
You have limited time to rack up playoff statistics.
Yeah.
I would have taken the touchdown if I was Saquon Barkley
100%
in that situation.
100%.
He played in 2 games with the Giants.
He did play in 2.
2022.
All right.
Any touchdowns?
2.
All right.
So he's
been
there before.
Could have had 3.
Could have had 3.
He'll have a chance, though, next week to add to the.
No, it's a heady play.
Touchdown
it's a
list.
very heady play on his. But again, I did not know that he was the most bet.
Most bet.
Andy in the chat says, "I'm doing construction on my house right now. My contractor just showed up saying, 'Did you see Ben?'" That's so good, dude. That is so good, man. That is so good. Yeah, making the rounds today.
Well, glad I can give everybody something to talk about today on a Monday.
That's right. We needed a laugh on a Monday.
All right. The other game, we talked a little bit about it. The Washington Commanders had not won a playoff game since the 2005 season, so nearly 20 years until they won last night 23-20, a back and forth battle against the Tampa Bay Bucks. Talked about the mistakes that cost Tampa Bay, a couple of fumbles,
the Jets
bad
sweep.
timing. They could have won that game. Tampa had that one in their hands, kind of let it get away. But also credit to Jaden Daniels in his first playoff game and what kind of season
fun to watch, man.
he's had. He's able to hurt you in multiple ways. And I thought the key at the end of the game. So it's 2020.
What a play.
And, Washington has a chance to drive down the field, but they also want to bleed the clock.
Correct.
and Tampa's using their timeouts, and it comes down to a 3rd and 1. There's like a minute left, and Tampa has 1 timeout. So if they don't get the first down, at the very least, Tampa's going to call timeout, and they're going to have 45, 50 seconds to go down and maybe match the field goal, send it to overtime. The game's definitely not over if they stop them. And Daniels keeps it, rolls to his right, and
shotgun 3rd and 1.
Yeah,
picks it. Defender's right in his face.
I mean, so I don't know who it was. Had him in his arms.
Puts a move on him.
Like he was a ghost. Just disappeared out of his arms.
So slick.
Got the first down, and they were able to then bleed the rest of the clock, and then kick the field goal. But keep in mind, who is it? Zane Gonzalez or Zach Gonzalez, whatever his name is, the kicker. Had he not gotten those extra 4 or 5 yards, and had the same kick that he did, that's not good because he hit the upright and bounced it through. Any 1 yard further, that's a miss. That's a miss, and they're going to overtime. So that play was not just important in bleeding the clock, but they needed every inch to keep that field goal between the uprights and give the Commanders the win.
Yeah, it felt inevitable when it hit and went through. I just went, oh my God, man, the Washington Commanders, all the crap they've been through the last few years, what Dan Quinn's done coming in, they were talking about on the broadcast last night, completely flipped the culture in that clubhouse, in that organization. For them to go on the road like that and get a win like that was so massive and impressive. And Daniels is the real deal, man. He is a fun dude to watch.
So they've got the real tough test of now having to go to Detroit.
Yep.
To take on the rested 1 seed, the Lions, next Saturday in the evening game at 5 o'clock. But I think it's kind of house money for the Commanders now.
Big time.
Great season, surprised everyone, a playoff win. You can't take anything away from them. They've had a very successful year, so they should be coming into that game fairly loose. And while Detroit is, 8.5-point favorites, they're still they're still a battered Detroit team. They're not
defense is.
They're not healthy.
Yep.
And I think Jaden Daniels could be a problem.
Yep.
I'm not ready to call upset necessarily.
Maybe assless chaps next week, since we've already done the mesh shirts.
But I'm not thinking that Washington doesn't have a chance in this game.
M.M. McKee says the Washington kicker was giving me anxiety when he kept rubbing his head. Yeah, he suffers from obsessive-compulsive disorder.
He was doing his untying his shoe and retying it and untying and retying it. Yeah.
Yeah, so listen, I'm married to somebody with obsessive-compulsive disorder. Hers doesn't manifest itself like that. She's not locking and unlocking the door 15 times. She doesn't do the hair smooth. I mean, but you see it, and you're like, oh my gosh, man, this guy, it's his routine. It's what he has to do to get himself in a mental place to be able to kick a football through the uprights, Ben. And it's jarring to watch. I mean, and of course, people making fun of him and whatever else, but it's a bit of a prison to live in. I mean, straight up, it is a prison to live in. I have to do these things to get myself right and ready to go. And I feel for the guy. I really do. I thought the same thing everybody did. I'm like, what, bro, your hair is fine. You don't even have much hair. Stop. And then I go, oh, he's got it.
Our colleague Chris Ello has talked about it before as well.
It's
he
tough,
suffers
man.
from just the quirks that he has to do to get ready and everything.
To get ready for
things. But, he made the kick. It's either good or it's not good. It's a black and white situation. And in the history books, it's right down the middle. So Washington gets the win. We're left with one more game tonight. We can talk about tonight's matchup and maybe even get into the college football game from Friday night right after a check of traffic here on 97.3 The Fan.
From the 855 Get Ross Traffic Center, protecting San Diego after accidents or injury, here's Kelly Danick.
Got a number of problems here, guys. Crash on westbound King Freeway past College Grove. It's over to the right shoulder as you make your way into downtown. Another accident just past 28th Street. That one's got the slow lane blocked. Also traveling on southbound 5 Genesee off-ramp, a collision. Southbound side of the 15 before the 163. Accident involving a car and a motorcycle. That's in the Center Divide. And South 163 reports of a crash in the Hillcrest area right before University. Motorcycle involved in this one as well. Fast lanes blocked. Tow truck rolling up to help out with that. I'm Kelly Danick with Ben & Woods, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
One more wild card game tonight. Of course, it's the one that was moved from SoFi Stadium to State Farm Stadium in Glendale.
Ironic.
It is the Vikings against the Rams. The Vikings have moved to an even bigger favorite after, obviously, they were going to be on the road, and now it's a neutral site. Although I saw that they have sold out that stadium. I don't know if it's a majority Rams fans or more Vikings fans were able to get in the door, and who lives in Arizona, but pretty impressive that, 3 days after they announced the game is being moved, that they're going to sell out the stadium tonight for a wildcard NFL playoff game in Arizona.
Yeah, the irony's not lost on people that it's State Farm Stadium as well, and they had insurances.
It's also where they moved
look.
the Chargers game back in 2007 when wildfires prevented them from using Qualcomm. They were using it as kind of an emergency evacuation shelter, and the Chargers went and played a game in Arizona that day as well. Minnesota now 2.5-point favorite.
It's come up a little bit.
Yeah, I think they were 1-point favorites. They're now 2.5-point favorites. They're coming off that loss to Detroit in the season finale, but I guess the big question is Sam Darnold. Who shows up for the game tonight?
I mean, he really had such a really good and complete season until he didn't. And so if all you're basing your whether you're a fan or hell, whether you're Sam Darnold, like it wasn't like there was this tremendous amount of pressure on him in the last game. He was just missing throws, like shanky, like he had the yips. That's the last game you played. It didn't go well. How do you go in tonight and you're like, we flush that and we move on that first throw where he's got some time to step back in the pocket and sling one, 8 yards to a wide receiver. How does he know he's not going to airmail it?
That last game, he looked like Sam Darnold for his whole career.
Correct.
Minus the 16 previous games of this year.
It's nuts, man. How one game.
Has he figured it out?
Right.
Or is he just been getting
he
lucky?
It's all of it. Is he in the right system? I don't think you can get lucky and win as many games as they won.
I agree.
It's beyond luck, right? You figured something out. You're in the right scheme.
You don't luck into 14-3.
No.
Oh.
You luck into a win, maybe 2.
I do think, though.
But it's I'm so fascinated to watch tonight to go like, all right, if you're O'Connell, he throws first down. First play of the game, you got to have him throw. Just get it out of the way. Period.
Personally, it feels to me like they still have Minnesota has the better team.
Yes,
that even they can withstand another Sam Darnold-esque game from Sam Darnold. You know what I mean? Like if he really, if this is who he is, I think they can withhold that or withstand that because they have the better team.
Maybe.
I mean, I certainly think you feel
on a neutral.
You feel like you can trust Matthew Stafford.
Yes,
won a Super Bowl. He's been in playoff situations like this before.
They've got playmakers.
You don't know if you can trust Sam Darnold in this situation. I think the other intriguing thing about this game, of course, Kevin O'Connell, the coach of the Vikings, is from the Sean McVay coaching tree, was his offensive coordinator for the Super Bowl Rams just a few seasons ago. So you figure Sean McVay should know all of Kevin O'Connell's tricks and vice versa, which adds that next kind of level of poker to a football game. Do you go with what works and what you've practiced, but you also know that the other team is going to be very ready for it? Or do you go against your own character and do things differently and risk, not being yourself, but catch the other team by surprise a little bit tonight with some of your calls?
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting game. The more I talk about it, the more I think about it. I may go, the Rams getting 2.5.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to bet against your guy. I know you like your guy, and I know I think I went with Minnesota for our pick 'em, but if I'm putting my actual money down there, the Rams seem like a pretty decent pick.
The extra 1.5 definitely helps.
It helps
a little bit
on
the Rams, but I've just got to feel like, again, you don't luck into 14.
You don't. And you can't have an outlier bad game. It happens, but the confidence could be rattled. It's got to get in your head, man. You just could not land a throw in the last game and just airmailing balls, and he had time and all that. So we'll see, man. We'll see what happens.
C313 in the chat says, what in the world is Ben wearing? Is he shopping in his local adult bookstore?
Huh. Yes, but that's not why he's wearing that.
I've never been in an adult bookstore.
So I drove by. I was going to a Seals game a couple weeks ago, and as you know, down in the sports arena area, I was at the light, and there's that massive adult superstore, and I saw a guy walk out of it, and I thought to myself, do you not have the internet? Number one. Number two, what's in there? Number 3, I would like to interview him and find out, hey, man, it's Saturday night. It's about 5:30. You're walking out of an adult superstore on Morena. What did you do in there? And what?
Maybe he bought something for his wife.
He was empty-handed.
Oh.
He did not have a bag.
Oh, maybe
or
he just
anything.
didn't see what he was looking for.
Are there
Window shopping.
maybe? Do they have the? Now I don't know what's in there. So if anybody knows, let me know. Is that a place where you could go and do?
Shouldn't be. Not
I
legally.
think it is.
Not legally.
It's
No.
I don't think
I want
it's.
to know, do people actually buy books at an adult bookstore? Like, I am looking for a good racy paperback. I mean, is that something that people look for at an adult bookstore?
Canadian Mounted was the one from Planes, Trains, and Automobiles that John Candy was reading. Canadian Mounted.
If you actually went into an adult bookstore, would there be a section of adult books that you could, peruse?
Yes, I
Okay.
think so. Now,
Lady Chatterley's Lover.
an adult superstore, is it items like that we bought you?
Yeah, marital aids and
Okay,
such.
things
I
like
would
that.
think, yes.
It says adult
Marital
bookstore.
aids.
So I don't. But I did. I watched him walk out and I thought to myself, what are you doing here? Why are you here?
All right, can I be freed from the mesh shirt? Is my hour up?
You got like 6 minutes.
You want me to go the
it was
entire
like
hour?
8:05.
Yeah, like 8:05.
Then I'll have to change in mid-segment.
We can go behind the partition again.
All right, fine. We've got our final hour Reindl
look good.
Report, Aztecs tickets to give away as well, and your last 5 minutes to enjoy me in the mesh shirt coming up on 97.3 The Fan. I'm ready to be out of this thing.
You look good in
It's
it.
itchy a little bit, though. It's a little itchy.
It is. The fabric is not.
No.
It came yesterday in the Amazon package.
Sure,
And
it wasn't Temu. It feels kind of Temu.
It feels a little Temu, but I opened it up, you guys, and it came in an envelope, like where you would get some legal documents. And I go, what did I go, oh, well, that's weird. So I open it up, and then it's pancake thin,
my God.
like in plastic, and it had the zip off top. So I pulled it out, unfurled it, and I went, oh, this is going to be a good bet. What's next? I mean, how do we up the ante?
We don't always have to up the ante.
Don't you?
That's a you thing.
Oh,
you
it
love
is?
upping the ante. I'm fine with the ante as it's
By
currently
the time we get to
sitting.
the Super Bowl picks, it'll be loser has to do a show nude.
Lower the ante is fine.
Just in assless chaps for the next round. That's a good idea. Actually, I'll look into those. I mean, nobody can really see that on the air, though.
Yeah, all that does is piss off our colleagues.
Yeah,
who then
we're
have to sit
walking
in these
around
same
in here.
chairs.
Yeah, yes, exactly.
Ben's
yeah,
just been over there.
you can't wear underwear with assless chaps. That's hence the name. Did we ever figure out what chaps were for? I think we did this bit on the air.
I think we did as well.
Like a real cowboy. What does the cowboy wear? Chaps.
To protect the legs of cowboys, ranchers, and rodeo competitors
So-
from a variety of hazards.
So if I'm on a horse and I have some leather chaps on the top,
Right.
shouldn't it be on behind me to protect like my legs from chafing on the horse or
Well,
something?
no. Think about like if you're riding a horse, but you're riding maybe through some of the underbrush, and you're hitting
okay.
You're hitting like branches.
Can I just
and
lift my legs up real high?
Not
as I ride
necessarily.
through the brush?
There's thorny plants, cacti. You definitely don't want to hit a cacti.
That's true.
So you might hit one of those, and then you'd be very happy you had some leather chaps on to protect an extra layer of protection for your legs.
It's a good question. Question is moot. Says chaps are inherently assless, aren't they? Yes, I think but not all cowboys wear them without anything underneath, which was my
I think
point.
some are completely like they don't even cover the back of the legs; they just on the front. Others wrap all the way around the legs, except
the
up
butt.
to the butt area.
Okay. So if I'm at like there was the rodeo, they had the rodeo this weekend, and I'm doing some thing. There's no brush or thorns or cactus.
No.
So is it just because it looks cool?
It's probably more decorative
Because
at
it
the
looks
rodeo.
cool.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I just wanted to know. I mean, yeah, if you're a real cowboy, you're out there riding through the brush and the fields and stuff, it makes sense. If you're riding at the rodeo at Petco Park in San Diego, do you need chaps on? That's my question.
It may be part of the show and theater, the cowboy theater.
Yeah, do you need a cowboy hat either?
You know, well,
you could wear a backwards baseball cap if you
could.
wanted to.
Anything that protects your eyes, probably from the sun.
All right.
Of course, the rodeo was at night, at least on the first couple of days.
So you don't really need it.
You didn't really need the hat either. But I would imagine if a cowboy came out just wearing, T-shirt and,
Shorts.
joggers.
He's dressed like me.
It just wouldn't look that on.
Viore pants. He's like, all right, let's get it. It's a bull rider. Yeah, I guess it's kind of you want to look the part.
Yes.
Because I often dress for golf, but I'm a terrible golfer. But if you saw me, you go, oh, that guy looks like a golfer. Shoot 112 on you.
Yeah, dressing the part.
Dressing the part. All right, I get it.
All right, let's. We haven't had a chance to just go back all the way to Friday, which is when they played the Goodyear Cotton Bowl Classic, the second of the two college football playoff semifinal games, with Ohio State taking on Texas, and Ohio State eventually pulling out the 28-14 win, but a game that was close all the way throughout. In fact, Texas was down 7 and had the ball first and goal at the 1-yard line in the final, 3-4 minutes of the game.
I think there was 4 minutes left.
And they got stopped once, and then I think it was second down that Sark decided to call for the old pitch play. And, I mean, he's gonna hear about this call forever from Texas fans. It didn't work, blown up. It was a loss of, 7 or 8 yards.
Yeah, 7 yards.
Put him back then at, the 8-yard line instead of the 1. And it was really the difference in the game and allowed Ohio State to stop it. I will say, it's really easy to criticize after the fact. How many times have you seen teams, geared up to stop the quarterback sneak or the plunge up the middle, And one little pitch to the side, the guy just walks in untouched.
Yep.
Walks in untouched. Didn't work out this way for Texas this time.
Yeah, and listen, Ohio State's goal line defense is amongst the best, if not the best in the country. So I think we can all, but I think if you're a Texas fan, Ben, put yourself in those shoes. You are more than fine with 4 attempts up the middle. You are. Like, again, we talk a lot on this show, at least I do, about managers or coaches making decisions to not only win the game, but to also cover their own ass. No one on the planet this morning, if they ran Quinn Ewers 4 times up the middle, is saying a word. He didn't get the job done. It happens. They're a really good defense. When you get a little squirrely and you call something like that and you end up losing 7 yards on that play against a defense that is really, really stout, that's the tough part. I think I talked to my buddy about it the next morning, diehard Texas fan. He was devastated, and he just said, I can't get my head around it, running that pitch play outside. He goes, now, one thing that may have hurt Texas too is Arch Manning, who's much bigger and more physical than Quinn Ewers. He went down with what they thought was potentially a concussion. He did not come back in the game.
Oh, is that why he didn't come back
in? So if he was available, it's Arch up the middle 4 times. There's a part of me, I love the Dan Campbell. The element of surprise. Sean Payton yesterday, a little element of surprise. There's a part of me that's like, okay, cool. But when it's 1st and goal from the 1, you can't get super squirrely. You just got to put your head down and shove it up the middle. And if you don't get it, you don't get it. But you didn't do anything to cost yourself a win. You tried to win. You didn't get the job done, but you made the smart decisions.
Before we continue, may I change back into my shirt now?
Let's see. Yeah, you're good.
Has it been an hour?
9:07. You're good.
Go for it.
Fine.
So I was looking it up.
I don't know why you would want to, but
I was looking it up. Ohio State -8 is the early line.
I got it at 8.5.
8.5.
Yeah, I took the Irish plus 8.5 already.
It's weird when you look at the box score already for that game coming up a week from tonight. It shows the college football playoff ranking next to the teams. You got a 7 seed and the 8 seed made it to the championship. Does that tell you anything about? Do they need to figure out how to pick the best 12 teams, however you're going to pick them, and then reseed them or something? Like once you have the 12, does it feel like it's the 7th and 8th best teams in the country that made it to the championship?
Look, I mean, at the end of the day, I feel like the 2 best teams are playing in it.
It feels like 2 versus 3 or 4 or something.
Right. I mean, even one.
I still think Oregon was the number 1 team heading into the tournament.
Yep.
It doesn't feel like we're watching the 7th and 8th best teams.
It sure doesn't, man. And again, I could be completely wrong. You know how I'm wired as a fan. We lose by 30. I've said it every week. We're probably going to lose by 30. But I did watch that and go, okay. Like Will Howard, he's good. The receiver Smith did nothing. There's a blueprint for beating Ohio State. There's no question. They are not an infallible team. They are not a perfect team. They are a nasty team. They play nasty. But so does Notre Dame. Notre Dame plays really, really nasty football. And I'm really excited about this matchup. We may not win, but I think we can cover. I really do.
Yeah, it's going to be tough. I think I told you before that game, once on Friday morning, I think I said, if Texas wins, I say congratulations on your future Notre Dame championship.
I feel the same way.
If Ohio State wins, should be a good game.
Hope you keep it close.
I really don't know.
Yeah, it's going to be really fun watching with you guys on Monday in our Airbnb. I'm a wreck about it. Leave me be.
My Lulu shirt feels so comfortable.
Does it feel good?
Now.
Yeah,
Oh.
I bet. Man, you're not
so soft.
You're not cut out for mesh
Feels
shirt.
so good.
Mesh shirt life.
You didn't bring up though. I thought. I mean, they made a lot of it on the broadcast, but it was amazing.
Kirk Herbstreit's dog,
Jack Sawyer, the kid who stripped Quinn Ewers and returned it 83 yards for the clinching touchdown. Those two were roommates at Ohio State.
Yeah.
When Quinn started, he was at Ohio State before transferring to Texas. They were paired together as roommates, Jack Sawyer and Quinn Ewers. And their college careers go on, and then they come around, and it ends up one of them returning the fumble on the other one. I mean, come on. It's a
good story.
That's a good story
yeah,
right there.
and a good story, Jack Sawyer, who was the one that flipped out when Michigan planted the flag at Ohio State. He was the one that absolutely was flipping out, trying to fight everyone. He's the guy that picked that up and ran it back.
Not on our MF and field.
Yeah, he was that guy.
Okay.
So they're a nasty team. They're well coached. They've got speed on the outside. We have good pass defense. Like it should be a good game. I've been let down so many times in the championship, though. I'm not expecting much, but my hope is there.
For somebody with no dog in the fight, I'm like, these are two really good teams.
Yeah, should be a good matchup.
You know what? I didn't care for Ryan Day a few years ago for whatever reason. He's kind of growing on me.
Yeah,
and I love Marcus Freeman.
Yep,
and they're both well coached. Crazy fan bases.
Crazy.
Like
the smack talking
Atlanta?
is it's in Atlanta. The smack talking is through
It's
the roof.
going to be insane.
It's funny because the Michigan loss may go down as the best thing to ever happen to Ohio State.
Kind of like the Northern Illinois loss.
Yeah, not only bringing the team together, but for Ryan Day. It was after that loss that pretty much everyone thought, oh, he may be done at Ohio State. This is it for him. But in some ways, as Paulie just kind of indicated, it almost made people look at him a different way. Like, okay, back up and really take a look at who this guy has been as a head coach. He's been incredibly successful.
Bro, he had like 68-5 or some ridiculous record. Like, you really... But
the reason why that loss was so upsetting for Ohio State fans is because they're spoiled by how good the team has been under Ryan Day.
Yep.
Don't forget how you got to this place, how you got so spoiled that another loss to Michigan feels like the end of the world.
A prickly, motivated Ryan Day is not the guy I'm super excited about going up against in the playoffs. I'm just not. I'll tell you right now, they're a really good team. He's got them playing their best football, but I love the chance that both teams get a chance to recover a little bit. Irish were decimated by injuries. 2 pages worth of injuries right now. Jeez. Lost our starting left tackle. He's out. He's not going to be there. So you're going to have a backup there. It's going to be a dogfight, man. And again, it could come down to one of those special teams plays, some weird turnover. The officials, it's maddening watching the officials in college football this year. It's maddening. Like they did such a bad job in that Texas game. It was terrible.
If Notre Dame loses, would you color your beard like Ryan Day? Like
just jet black?
Just jet black Woods beard.
Sure. If the Irish lose?
If the Irish lose. I was just trying to come up with something. I don't think he needs to color his beard that much.
He does it, though,
feels
man.
like it's aggressive.
It's almost like he does it daily.
It's aggressively dark.
Very, very dark. I colored mine a couple years ago at spring training.
That's right.
Got it all brown, and then I took the picture with
For
Peter
the Peter
Seidler.
Seidler mustache.
Yeah, and it looked pretty good. But he does jet black.
Jet black.
Yeah, I'll do it if I have to.
Scary. All right, we still have. There were a couple of baseball moves not involving the Padres over the weekend, and want to get you caught up on what's been going on in the Hot Stove League. We will get to that coming up. First, though, we got Woods to tell you about Underdog.
Oh, man, I've been loving playing Underdog Fantasy. So, California sports fan, again, I've been telling you, it's great news. You can now play Underdog Fantasy here in our state. It's been really, really fun. Best place to cash in on all your takes during the playoffs. Going to go in when I get home today, mess around and see what happens tonight, like with Matthew Stafford, Puka Nakua. Are those guys going to score a touchdown? You guys know how daily fantasy works. You pick the over, the under. How are they going to do? I've loved it. Won a robust $17 over the weekend, which I guess is better than not winning $17, but it's been great. The only pick 'em platform that puts the power to cash out in your hands. You can either keep riding with your entry or tap the Win Now button to cash out whenever you want. Best place to play pick 'em is Underdog. Download the app, sign up with the promo code Woods, deposit now to get up to $1,000 in bonus cash instantly. Promo code is Woods. You must be 18 and over, present in the state where Underdog Fantasy operates. Terms do apply. Concerned with your play? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit ncpgambling.org.
Hamul Casino. Fun above all else.
Mentioned it earlier, but I think it bears repeating. We're bringing back the biggest fan contest to 97.3 The Fan. Those of you who remember, this is a pretty cool deal. Starting January 27th, we will call names 3 times a day at 9 a.m., 1 p.m., and 5:30 p.m. If you hear your name called, you'll have like 10 minutes to call us back. If you do, you will enter the grand prize drawing for the amazing Odyssey Suite at a Padres game. 20 tickets for you and your friends. You get the whole suite for the night and really enjoy the experience. It is probably the best prize we can really offer at this radio station to one of our listeners. It's just a local contest, our station, our listeners with a chance to win. All you need to do, and you got the next couple of weeks to do it, but might as well do it right now, is go to 973thefansd.com/biggest-fan and put your name in. And once you do, we could be calling it at any time starting January 27th at 9 a.m. with the first names in our biggest fan contest.
Breaking news out of the NFL. Did you guys see this? Mike McCarthy is out.
Ooh, well, his contract expires tomorrow.
Could not agree to terms. Tom Pelissero says Mike McCarthy is out. As Cowboys coach, two sides couldn't agree on the length of the contract. McCarthy will pursue other opportunities, leaves Dallas with a winning record and 3 playoff appearances.
I'm checking my phone because I got the ESPN notification 27 minutes ago. They said this just in. Mike McCarthy hasn't negotiated a new deal with the Cowboys, may become coaching free agent. And then, 25 minutes later, he's
Jerry
on.
Jones last week would not let him interview for the vacant Chicago Bears position, and now I think they're still looking for a coach because they want to interview Coach Freeman from the Irish, which would just wreck my soul. They just signed him into an extension there, but it's the NFL, and
of course the Bears had asked permission to interview McCarthy and were denied by the Cowboys last week. Did you say that already?
First one of the year.
Sorry,
he's looking right at me.
I heard you say that the Cowboys wanted to interview Marcus Freeman.
No, the Bears did.
Oh, the Bears wanted to interview Marcus Freeman.
Yes.
Oh, I thought you said the Cowboys wanted to interview Marcus Freeman.
No.
I think the Cowboys should want to interview Marcus Freeman too now. Really, anybody would want to interview Marcus Freeman at this point.
How long until you can get it? Like
Next
10
segment,
minutes?
Yeah. But
It's blatant.
I thought it was interesting
is
that
me.
the Bears requested to interview Mike McCarthy, and they were denied.
I guess Jerry Jones said no to that.
Missed that one.
Yes.
I was going to talk baseball this segment.
You threw me.
You know, put the
You
mesh.
threw me
Put
for
the
a
mesh
loop.
shirt back on.
You threw me for a loop.
When he doesn't listen, he has to wear the mesh shirt. He's just walking around in it all the time. You think Jerry Jones will hire Deion Sanders?
That's an interesting.
It's
Very
an interesting thought.
Very
feels like
interesting.
there's too much personality in one.
It's so good.
As large as that stadium is, can it really contain both Jerry and Dion at the same time?
I mean,
it has before, I guess.
it has,
I
yeah.
know Roger Goodell and the suits in New York would love.
They would love that.
for that.
Oh my God, they would absolutely lose their minds.
But then again, if you're a Cowboys fan, you've gone with the under Jerry's thumb coach.
Yeah.
Maybe you want a more independent type thinker again.
I just don't know. I just don't know if you're allowed to be an independent thinker and work for Jerry Jones. I just don't think it works that way. I think
Jimmy Johnson was.
it was 30 years ago,
Yeah.
and it
worked.
the minute he piped up, Jerry's like, "You're done, dude. Get out of here."
Give me Barry Switzer.
Yeah, who will just fall in line. It's just crazy.
It's funny, though, that it worked so well for Jerry, and he's never really wanted to go back that route again.
No, just that's ego.
It is
Ego's
ego.
a powerful
He'd rather lose than win and have someone else get the credit.
It's just
Is that really the truth?
Yes.
With the Dallas Cowboys?
I don't think you. How do you deny that?
I guess it is.
I'd rather lose my way than anybody else
Than win somebody else's way.
Somebody else get the credit. It's bananas. It's bananas to me. But yeah, you want to talk some baseball? I've got questions. I've got major questions about one of the signings that went down over the weekend, Benny.
So the biggest one over the weekend was Jeff Hoffman, the reliever, going to the Toronto Blue Jays on a 3-year deal.
$330.
But you had you had some information. I didn't even see this, that he had reached an agreement with the Orioles already, but failed a physical. And thus they decided to cancel the deal.
So Benny, from what I'm seeing on Twitter from some of the people in the know, they're saying he also the Orioles had a 3-year, $40 million agreement with Jeff Hoffman before he signed for 3 years, 30 with the Blue Jays. Baltimore backed out of the deal after his physical revealed damage in his throwing shoulder. The Blue Jays said, looks fine to us. We'll take you at 3 and 30. Somebody made the point too that they said the Blue Jays have not been able to sign anyone. They were so close on Shohei. I've been so close on so many guys. They're like, fine, we'll just take it. We'll take it. We'll do 3 and 30 for Jeff Hoffman. So yeah.
Now he was originally drafted, I believe, by the Blue Jays. Then of course you remember him with the Rockies for a while, and eventually went to the Phillies and was one of the better relievers in baseball. But obviously, if there's shoulder issues, that's going to scare a lot of teams away on the free agent market.
Not Toronto. They've got universal health care up there. Maybe that's different.
Maybe that's one of the reasons Roki Sasaki met with the Blue Jays as well. Didn't feel like it hit a lot of his requirements, but it is a very international, cosmopolitan city, and my guess is if you're leaving Japan, that wouldn't be as foreign of an environment as, say, maybe going to Texas or somewhere else might be. So maybe that was part of the reason that Roki Sasaki met with the Blue Jays. I thought the one that I thought maybe the Padres would be interested in was Colin Ray, who signed with the Chicago Cubs, a 1-year deal for $5 million, reunites with Craig Counsell, who had been the manager of the Brewers when Colin Ray was in Milwaukee. Not that he's a needle mover by any stretch of the imagination, but he's a fairly affordable 1-year guy. We haven't seen a lot of these guys. Starting pitchers, probably can eat up some innings, not going to make a ton of money. You're not expecting them to win a Cy Young Award, but there's a place for guys like Colin Ray at the back ends of rotations, and the Cubs snatch him up for $5 million, and the Padres obviously still need pitching help this offseason and have not landed any yet.
No, have not done anything yet. I did say, kicking off the show today, I expect I expect some moves this week. Kind of the first time really publicly I saw over the weekend, AJ and the Padres listening on Robert Suarez, who remains a pretty valuable trade chip. There's a lot of teams that need back of the bullpen help and closer help. Yeah, I think about.
You do feel like
would you rather have a
strength for the
damaged
Padres.
Jeff Hoffman for $10 million or a
healthy
Robert Suarez? That's an easy call.
It's an easy call.
Like we've been talking for weeks now about, are they going to trade Cease? What's going to happen with Cease or Rise for that matter?
yeah.
But I'm focusing on pitching. It's been Dylan Cease this, Dylan Cease that. We don't have a whole lot of depth at the starting position.
Correct.
Which is why I have never wavered. I don't want them to trade Dylan Cease.
No.
If you found the right deal and you could move Robert Suarez, I'm open to that one because it's at least pulling from a position of strength where you have some depth.
Yes.
And it's whether it's Morihone, Estrada, Jason Adam, like you got guys. It feels like every year AJ's just going to find a new closer,
Yeah, and again, like you can always trade for a closer. If it's just a train wreck for Mike Schilt in the first half, and they can't figure out.
Which I doubt it will be.
I doubt it will be as well. But if it was, you can find a closer.
But you need
absolutely
to get starting pitching,
Yes.
or a catcher and a starting pitcher. You need to address needs if you're going to trade Robert Suarez.
Yep, Jeremiah Estrada. I think everybody would be willing to look at that guy and give him a shot to get the last 3 outs.
Yeah, he's a valuable commodity.
Very.
There's no doubt that he's going to generate some interest for sure.
Yeah, there's Boston that needs one. There's Baltimore that needs one. Robert Suarez could be on the move, and I know a lot of people have speculated about it, but it's the first time I saw it kind of reported in public that the Padres are listening on Robert Suarez. I like him. I would hate to see him go, but closer is just it's just one of those areas on this team in particular I look at and go, okay, we'd be fine. We'd be fine. I think we could be okay. We've got depth in that position. It's one of the only positions we have any depth at.
Yeah.
All right, we will come back. Paulie's got the Reindl Report, including a very quirky thing that happened on the sideline in one of the NFL games, I believe, coming up. First, though, I learned a lot, Woods, when we went through the trust and will process over our holiday break. And one of the things I learned, from many of us here in San Diego, our biggest assets are our houses. And you figure, all right, if I die, it's going to pass along to the rest of my family, fine. But if you don't specify that in a living trust or a will, the state can actually reassess the property taxes. So if your house went up in value, probably did over the last 10, 15 years by quite a bit, you could be leaving your family on the hook for a massively increased tax bill that could be avoidable by following a simple process at trustandwill.com.
Yeah, and it's I sat down to do it. Didn't know how much I was how long I was committed to doing this. Guys, it took me 20 minutes to get through pretty much everything I needed to get through, and it was really surprising to learn that 67% of Americans don't have an estate plan, and don't be a part of that statistic. Plan for the unexpected. Do it today. Takes no time at all, guys. So all you have to do is go to trustandwill.com. There's a code. If you put in at the end, get 10% off plus free shipping.
San Diego, all one word.
San Diego. Put that in. You'll get free shipping of your estate plan documents. Go to trustandwill.com. Use San Diego, one word, at checkout. Trustandwill.com.
Get to our Reindl Report in just a minute. Paulie reminding me, though, that before it's too late, we have one more giveaway today. So want to give you the opportunity to win tickets for tomorrow night's San Diego State basketball game versus Colorado State at Viejas Arena. Make this one fast. Third caller, 833-288-0973. Third caller, 833-288-0973. Send you to Viejas Arena tomorrow night. You can get your own tickets at goaztecs.com. Call now for your chance to win. Again, big game for the Aztecs after their loss at New Mexico on Saturday morning. They do not want to suffer a third Mountain West loss this early in the season. It won't be over because they're playing 20 conference games for the first time. And, I mean, you can always run off a 14-game winning streak and be fine, but you don't want to put yourself 3 games behind the leaders at this stage of the season. Now, 4-2. Tied with Colorado State then, and just a couple of games behind, you're still in it. But you get to 3-3, and all of a sudden now you're just wondering, can we finish in the top, 4 or 5 and get that bye in the Mountain West tournament and not have to play 4 games in Las Vegas? You definitely don't want that.
No, man. No, it's a big one. Need you to be out there and getting loud tomorrow night at Viejas Arena, Benny.
So people calling in right now, 833-288-0973, and then they have a second home game, I think, Saturday, UNLV coming to town. So after Colorado State, I think they have a few games against kind of the lower half of the league. So hopefully they can go on a little winning streak, and the loss to New Mexico can be forgotten fairly quickly. But we will see if they can bounce back. They usually do. I think Dutch team, something like 38-5 in their last 43 games after a loss.
Yep.
They don't lose 2 in a row often. They will see if they can do that again.
Did you see who was working out together this weekend on down in the DR, Ben?
Oh, yeah.
Did you see that?
Jerickson and Fernando Tatis Jr. I saw that on my Instagram.
It made me very happy to see. Jerickson was getting in some leg extensions. Tatis was filming him, and he was, he's on the leg extension machine, and he's like waving and smiling. And yeah, I mean, I saw that, and I went, all right, bring him back. Let's go. Whatever it takes. Let's go.
Don't read too much into it. I believe they were working out together before Jerickson signed with the Colorado Rockies a couple of years ago. So just because they remain friends doesn't really impact the decision-making by A.J. Preller.
It made me happy.
It made me happy, too. I agree. All right, Paulie got our winner. Who is it, Paulie?
Miguel.
All right. Thank you, Miguel, for calling in. Enjoy yourself at the Aztecs game, and we'll get traffic and then our Reindl Report to wrap things up here on The Fan.
From the 855 Get Ross Traffic Center, protecting San Diego after accidents or injury, here's Kelly Danick.
It's been a busy morning. We're not over it yet. Got this crash over the right shoulder on westbound King Freeway just past College Grove. Also hit and run accident westbound 52 at the 5 in the North County. Dealing with a collision on westbound 56 past Camino del Sur. A couple of vehicles in the center divide, and you still got the 2 left lanes blocked on southbound 15. Crash near Felicita. I'm Kelly Danick with Ben and Wood, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
And get things started here with our today's edition of the Reindl Report.
Now tuned into the greatest.
Welcome to the Reindl Report with Paul Reindl.
Hi, Paul.
All right.
2 stories from the world of sports that we haven't gotten to yet.
We'll start off in Major League Baseball.
And 1 story that you didn't know you needed.
Are you laughing, biatch?
It's the Reindl Report
Hey, Paul, how you doing? Okay, how are you?
on 97.3 The Fan.
Are you ready to bless the mood? I need some help, please.
That was good.
Can I get a yeah? Oh, yeah.
All right.
All right.
All right, indeed.
It's been a very sportsy show on a Monday.
The most sportsy.
A lot of football,
much
X's
sport.
and O's, coaching hirings. We'll get to that.
I
here
wore
shortly.
a mesh shirt for an hour.
That's true,
Yeah.
but you talk sports the whole time.
That's true.
Yeah,
You're in it.
the entire time. So I want to just take a quick second. We teased this last week. This time tomorrow in the 9 o'clock hour, we're going to be joined by San Diego radio royalty, Dave Rickards, the legend himself, is going to be in studio tomorrow around 9 o'clock, and he's going to be hanging out with us. So if you missed that announcement last week, there you have it.
Yep.
Tomorrow morning, 9 o'clock.
Can't
So
wait, man. It's
wanna
been a
plug
couple of
that.
years in the making. He was under, like a severance contract. He's not anymore, so he can come in and chop it up with us. It's like I got fantasy camp later in the week. This is radio fantasy camp.
I'm hoping to pick his brain a little bit.
Yeah,
and
no doubt.
take some notes.
No question.
Yeah,
I mean, there's
a lot
just
of
no
fun,
question. Very excited to have him in studio.
All
We got to clean this place up. I mean,
Yeah,
look, this is embarrassing.
I got a lot of
work to do.
complaints.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, we'll start off in the NFL. I don't know if you guys knew this, but the Bears were looking to interview Mike McCarthy.
Cowboys said no.
Yeah, somebody that won't be interviewing is Mike Vrabel because he is heading to the Patriots, going back home. He's going to be their 16th head coach in franchise history. We're talking about the Steelers. They've had like 4 head coaches or whatever it's been over their history. 16th head coach for the Patriots. That is going to be official. I believe, when are they announcing that?
I think it's today.
They already officially
I think
announced
they did.
it.
I've seen some
The team
quotes.
announced it yesterday.
I've seen some quotes rolling in already that he said there may be a press conference going on, but he said something about we're going to remove, we're going to preach accountability, and it's not a right to be on this team. It's a privilege. We're going to take away, we're going to increase accountability, things like that.
He won
good coach speak.
3 rings with the Patriots, playing linebacker for them from 2001 to 2008. He was the head coach of the Tennessee Titans from 2018 to 2023. Pretty good. 54-45, which for that team, kind of always in flux, right? And they haven't had like the franchise. I mean, Ryan Tannehill, I think, was probably his quarterback for the most part of that time. 2-3 in the playoffs. Did make it to an AFC Championship game in 2019. I always thought he was a good coach. I think he'll actually do really well.
I mean, that's the pressure though of being like the Patriots legend and going back and coaching the Patriots. But seems to be the right man for the job. Kind of the
he knows the Patriot way.
The worst kept secret in the NFL. That was a
everyone knew
conclusion.
they were going to do this.
Yes.
My question is, why didn't they just do this last year? So
Vrabel
got fired like on the 6th, I think, of January, and then they hired Gerard Mayo 5 or 6 days later. Did they feel like, well, we're too far down the road
with Gerard Mayo?
With Gerard Mayo, we can't go. I mean, it felt like maybe Robert Kraft wanted Mike Vrabel all along because he never really gave Gerard Mayo a chance after one season. Or maybe Vrabel was like, I'm not ready to jump right back in.
Exactly.
And they did contact him, and they said, well, maybe we'll revisit it in the future. Well, the future, 1 year later, he is now the head coach of the New England Patriots.
All right, we will stay in the NFL. You guys sent this over to me. I missed this on the broadcast entirely, but during the Philadelphia Eagles Green Bay Packers game yesterday, there was a shot on television of Eagles wide receiver A.J. Brown, and it looked like he was reading a book.
No, he was reading a book.
Sitting on the bench, reading a book.
Not the playbook, by the way.
No, it was not the playbook. He's just sitting there reading.
A racy paperback?
Yeah, a racy paperback, maybe.
Maybe.
Canadian mounted.
No, he was reading a book called, let's see, where is it? Inner Excellence by Jim Murphy is the name of the book. And, of course, the internet just went wild. They were able to find what book it was. Now, this was not the first time he's been seen on the sideline reading.
He says he does this.
He's done this before. I'm sure he'll do it again. Here's a little bit of A.J. Brown after sitting in front of his locker talking with reporters, and he was asked, of course, about reading on the sideline.
Excellence, the book. Why do you read during the games, and what does it bring to you?
Man, it gives me a sense of peace. That's a book that I bring every single game. And, you know, my teammates call it a recipe. You know, that's the first time I heard that y'all got me on camera. But that's not the first game. You know, it got a lot of points in there. It's a lot of mental game, a lot of mental parts about it. And, you know, but for me, you know, this game is mental. You know, I physically believe I can do anything and everything. You know, I got to make sure my mental good. It's something like how I refresh every drive. You know, regardless of if I score a touchdown or I drop a pass, I always go back to that book every drive.
I love it. It's fantastic.
It's kind of hard to hear him.
I'm going to start reading during the show.
Okay,
he said it brings him peace. It calms him down a little bit.
And it's motivational.
It's hard to argue with a guy who feel like he's getting his best performance by, going back to the book and checking important passages and getting him focused in. I also tend to think, if I'm a coach, I want my players to have their head in the game.
That
not
helps
necessarily. Well, I understand, but
what does he need to do when he is a wide receiver and the defense is on the field?
Right.
There's 6 days and 21 hours of the week you're not playing a game that you can reference the book all you want.
But he's not reading the latest John Grisham thriller. You know what I mean? Dean Koontz's new one.
I get he's trying to help himself. I am looking for a good, racy paperback. I just, time and place, though. You want your players, they don't have to be necessarily standing up on the sideline for every play. You can be sitting on the bench and resting a little bit.
I like it because he's still what it does for him is it keeps his head in the game. Right?
Are they debating this in Philadelphia?
I don't know. Does it? Do you feel like Mike Schilt would be okay if Xander Bogaerts and when he wasn't up was just leafing through a book, even if it was a
leafing through
self? That's what AJ Brown was doing.
Because he's going to see that Xander Bogaerts is going to see the same picture that Luis Rise is facing currently.
So I think if you're a baseball player and you're sitting on the bench, you're watching the defense. You're watching the pitch selection. What's he throwing to him? It's different for me.
You can't really do that.
Yeah, my job's.
You're not on the field because their defense isn't on the field.
I think it's more
nothing for you
appropriate
to
if
watch.
you're going to compare sports. It'd be like a starting pitcher who, when your team's up to bat, can he go sit on the bench?
Yes.
Throw a jacket on and read whatever calms him down? I'd say I wouldn't have a problem with that, I guess. It'd be weird to watch.
Yeah,
but
Joe Musgrove goes and sits down and he's leafing through like a fishing magazine would be weird. It would be that I would find it a little bit weird. But I don't know, like if there's some sort of mental thing that it helps get him back in the game or like keeps his head right, I'm fine with it. You gotta let players be
Does it
players.
change anything that he had one reception for 10 yards?
Is it potentially eyewash? Is there the potential
I
that
don't
it's
think he's doing
eyewash?
it right. I think the eyewash would be standing up on the edge of the sideline.
Clapping on defense. Yeah, it's just you're just wasting energy.
Come on, defense. Our defense.
Yeah, you're just wasting
standing there every
energy.
play would be the eyewash move.
Yeah, fair.
I think the reading is actually somewhat, at least, distracting to maybe your own teammates.
I think anytime we can promote reading is a good thing. We need to read more. All of us need to read more. It's good for you.
I mean, they're always looking at iPads on the sidelines.
Yeah, always.
I've always assumed they're watching some sort of game
film.
And not perhaps catching up
Shrek
on
or something. Yeah. Maybe a racy movie.
Current season of, Law and Order.
Yeah. No, I like it. I like. Yeah, Brandon says Dodger fans especially need to read more. Yes. Yeah. Yes. 100%.
Yeah.
Spell more.
All right, and then finally, we'll wrap it up. A little fast food story here for you. Not the biggest fan of Arby's, but I am a big fan of what they got going on this week. So I remember putting this down on the rundown last week, on Friday. Last week, it was Quitter's Day.
Yes.
Quitter's Day, which is the most likely day that people are going to finally tap out on their New Year's resolutions. That was the 10th. So 10 days in.
Yeah.
That's Quitter's Day.
I tapped out of my yoga app immediately.
I quit Arby's. I think I told the story about 28 years ago.
You did? Okay, you quit Arby's 28 years ago.
I did quit Arby's.
You got sick, didn't you?
I did.
Yeah.
So it was my own fault. I went with the 5 for 5 deal.
You don't have to eat them all at the same
I know,
sitting.
but I felt like I did.
Was it a bet?
No, it was just a deal. It was a good deal.
5 for 5.
And I was in the fourth sandwich when it came back. Yeah, it was not
But why did you... Because I remember the 5 for 5.
Yeah.
You didn't have to... They had like 10 different items you could choose from. You could get like 2 sandwiches.
I just thought all I really liked was the regular plain roast beef sandwich.
You just got 5
So I
roast
just got
beef
5
sandwiches.
of those.
Again, you could have eaten 2 and put 3 aside and heated them up
They're
later.
not like good later, are they?
No, they're
Probably
not. They're not.
So, in recognition of Quitter's Day last week, Arby's, they're running a promo. It's called New Year, Same You for this week. And they've added salad to their menu. Kind of. They added 3 menu items that sound healthy, but they're just fake names for what they already have on their menu. So if you walk up to the counter and you say, "Hi, can I have a salad with dressing, please?" That'll get you a double beef and cheddar sandwich.
To make you look like you're sticking with your resolutions.
Yes.
I like that.
If you ask for a green smoothie, you're getting a milkshake.
Oh.
All right.
And if you ask for steamed vegetables, they will give you an order of curly fries.
We are a nation under siege, my friend. We are a nation
We
under
have the salads.
Yeah, we have the salads.
The idea behind the marketing here is that you can cheat, but get around it on a technicality.
It's literally a technicality.
I asked for a salad, and they just gave me this
beef and cheddar.
Beef and cheddar.
When you got your 5 for $5, were they plain or did you get the cheddar?
And then
just plain.
It's like, you go out for lunch, your lunch hour or something, and then you come back. Oh, what'd you have? I had a salad with dressing.
And a green
smoothie. And some steamed vegetables.
Yeah, with Arby's sauce all over your shirt and horsey sauce.
I like the Arby's sauce. I didn't
too.
love the horsey sauce.
I like them mixed.
Oh,
tangy.
What's the Arby's sauce again?
It's like
got
red,
barbecue-y,
it's like
kind of
tangy
barbecue-y sauce. Yeah.
I have not had Arby's in 20 years.
What did we learn that Arby's stands for? It's America's roast beef. Yeah.
Is that right?
I think that's what we figured out at some point. I thought it was just RB as in roast beef. Arby's. But then someone looked it up and it was America's roast beef.
Yeah. I love it. I love it.
Is I right about that, Paulie?
No.
No, I was not. Okay. Totally made that up.
Stands for the Raffle Brothers who started it. RB.
Huh.
Raffle Brothers.
A lot of different stories. Origin stories of Arby's floating around out
Urban myths.
Who's to say what's true and what's not true?
You know what is not an urban myth is the fact that you haven't worked on your active listening in the off season at all. That's not an urban myth. That is fact. Paulie has the clip.
Yes, I do.
Just a few minutes ago. Jerry Jones last week would not let him interview for the vacant Chicago Bears position, and now I think they're still looking for a coach because they want to interview Coach Freeman from the Irish, which would just wreck my soul. They just signed him into an extension there, but it's the NFL, and
of course the Bears had asked permission to interview McCarthy and were denied by the Cowboys last week. Did you say that already?
First one of the year.
Sorry.
First of many.
It's never a bad thing to reiterate. And
It is.
Really,
it's a bad thing to be on a radio show and you just don't.
Across.
You just tune out your co-host entirely. Yeah. It happens to me at home. It happens to me at work. This is why I'm damaged. This is why I'm in therapy.
You know how hard it is to listen to someone for 4 hours
it's not.
straight.
It's not.
It's kind of hard.
I hang on almost every word you say.
No, you don't hang on every word.
I do.
You really hang on every word I say.
I'm very good at it.
I hang on a good
almost
80 to 90% of your words. Mm-hmm. Occasionally I'll miss a point here or there.
Tyler said, Woods, please do a whole show one day where you just find ways to reiterate what Ben has already said. Tyler, I would if it wouldn't be a colossal waste of time. He wouldn't even notice if I did it. You make an Aztecs point, I make the same point. You just make your next point. It's my favorite.
Tyler says, Woods, please do a whole show one day where you just find ways to reiterate what Ben has already said.
It kills me, man. Kills me every time. Oh, boy. All right, that's it for us.
I guarantee you I'll be paying attention when Paulie's put it in the chat as well. I'll be paying attention tomorrow when Dave Rickards is in the final hour.
You better.
I'm definitely not.
Please don't embarrass us tomorrow.
Says.
Please.
I can assure you of that.
I'm begging you, please do not embarrass us.
All right, good Monday show. Annie and Elston are coming up next for Paul Reindl, our executive producer and imaging director, and Stephen Woods. I'm Ben Higgins. Have a great rest of your Monday. Talk to you tomorrow morning at 6 a.m. right here on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. So long, everybody.